Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are live. Hello and welcome everybody to episode number 73 of the MegaVision Show, the companion podcast to MegaVision's magazine. Today is February the 28th, 2021. I'm your host, Graham Cookson, and joining me this week, he doesn't care who you are, where you're from, or what you did, as long as you love him. It's my co-host, Scotty Mo. And everybody, rock your body, everybody, Marcin's back. All right. It's the senior editor of MegaVision's, Marcin Gulick. Welcome both. Welcome. And we are back once again live on Twitch, so keep us company and fire off any questions you have here in the chat, and we'll get to them as soon as we can going through the show. So as always, we'll be discussing some of your burning questions. We have our feature discussion. Actually, we're looking at two feature discussions this week, possibly, depending on time. We'll be looking at Blizzard's recent arcade collection release, and then chatting about what games we'd like to see if Sega were to release a similar bundle, and also the question of what if Sega were to make a board game based on one of their top franchises? Which one would we choose? So strap in for the ride that is this week's MegaVision's show. Yes, that's it. We are live. We're back. And as always, we'll start with how our week's been going. So, Scotty, let's start with you, my buddy. How's it been going?
Yeah. Not too bad. I want to say good job avoiding the DMCA strikes, Graham, by just reading lyrics like a Microsoft AI voice.
I don't think there's any chance I could get a DMCA for my terrible singing, but thanks, buddy.
I don't know. If Metallica can DMCA themselves, then anything's possible, right?
True. That is true. That's the world we live in these days. Whew.
Yeah, it definitely
I appreciate your Backstreet Boys themed intro.
Damn right you do. Damn right.
Good stuff. I don't even remember what you said about mine, actually, because I was just so captivated. What's happening? Oh, yeah, I did my week. My stuff I did and picked up. I surprisingly didn't play too much or do honestly too much this week. It feels like in comparison, it's just whatever life. But I did want to bring up that, and it's going to go into our main topic today. For Thursday Night Throwdowns, Corey hosted and we played Rock and Roll Racing. We got a 4-player game going and it was sweet. That's in the Blizzard Arcade Collection. It's not even in the definitive edition. It's like its separate thing is just straight up play 4-player Rock and Roll Racing, and it was me, Corey, Kusanagi, and H2O Happy Dude, new member of the staff. We tried to play it all night, but had incredible internet issues. Corey's internet was just dipping; like it'd be like 10 up, and then suddenly 10,000 up. Like it was just all over the place. Not even exaggerating. So. What was cool though is as soon as we started and we were just kind of getting things going, Stephen Frost jumped into the Twitch chat.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he used to work for Sega. I think was he the community something with Sonic? I forget exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember his actual official title, but yeah.
He also wrote for the Dreamcast magazine. He was the editor of the Dreamcast magazine.
Yeah. So he was on the Sega Nerdcast, I think, forever ago, right? Or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, quite a while ago now. Back in the day.
that was post full branding of MegaVision's. But he was in the chat and he works for Digital Eclipse now. That's who put out the Blizzard Arcade Collection. So it was really cool because at first, like, I recognized the screen name and I was like, Frost, man, where have I seen that? And I hopped on Twitter. I'm like, oh, Stephen Frost. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining. What is up? And let me please ask you about this game because I love this collection. He just appreciated the love that we were sharing. And I asked him if the announcer in the game, Larry, who's basically the characteristic of Rock and Roll Racing, how he's like, Vipers in another time zone, Shred takes first, and they added a bunch of stuff with this collection because back then in the 16-bit it was just amazing to have like an actual vocal track on a game. But for this new one, in the definitive edition, they have new stuff like it tying into other games like Lost Viking or something. My favorite add-on fake ad that Larry yells is, I'm not going to get it right exactly, but it's something like, drink Viking meat soda, the only soda that you drink with a fork, or something like that.
That sounds disgusting, but cool.
Yeah, but they didn't need to add any of that stuff. But I asked Steven in the chat, I was like, I'm just curious, did you guys like find the original Larry, or did you get a new guy to come in? And he said it's the same guy that they used back in 20 some years ago for a Genesis game. They got the same announcer to add some stuff for the definitive edition. So that was really cool. And he very much enjoyed seeing us, the love that we were given. And I felt like I was totally shilling just because someone was working on the game, but I was like, I have double dipped on this. This is a great collection. You guys are doing great work, like just gushing everywhere. And but yeah, we played that and had incredible internet difficulties, but it was still a lot of fun. That game was meant to be a multiplayer, like one more generation, and it could have been insane on like an N64 or something. Just an isometric 4-player game. It's kind of, maybe it's just the size of the cartridge, but I remember, you guys remember the Micro Machines game, the top-down racing game?
The Codemasters game.
I remember Micro Machines, but I don't remember the game.
Yeah. And but that had a 4-player mode, and that was on the Nintendo. So I feel like maybe they just didn't have time to fit in a 4-player mode for rock and roll racing. I'm sure graphically it was a little more demanding than just the top-down Micro Machines game. But
how'd they do? What, are you talking about the NES they had?
Yeah, there was a 4-player mode. Maybe I'll check that during the break. I don't dare open my internet while I'm talking.
I know the Mega Drive and Genesis Micro Machines games, the cartridges actually had the 2 extra controller slots in the cartridge.
Oh, really?
Actually, I might have a copy of one
that
of them.
at all. Yeah, if you can
keep chatting, I'll quickly check my Mega Drive collection. 1 second.
That's crazy. I enjoy. I'm not a racing game fan, but for some reason I like stuff like that, like Micro Machines or Rock and Roll Racing, Diddy Kong Racing, all the kart racers out there that don't make sense, like not physics-based anything. But no, that was really cool. And I honestly don't think I played much else or did much else during this week. I'm trying to remember and stall while Graham gets that, but anything. So I'll just go to my pickups. I got 2 pickups this week. They popped in the mail. It's Anamanaguchi's first 2 releases on vinyl. Anamanaguchi, the Chip Tunes pop punk band. And I'll actually pull these out of their sleeves here. But Polyvinyl, they recently started getting their stuff distributed through Polyvinyl. And sorry, that's probably a horrible sound on the mic. But I want to show you guys this because their first one, Power Supply, was their first release, and they did some cool stuff with it. So that vinyl looks like almost a peppermint. It's a splatter. It's white with red and pink splatter on it.
Oh, it looks like that Windows Media Player, you know, like those graphics that go when you're playing a song.
Yeah, there you go.
I miss those days.
It's really nice.
But that's Power Supply. And then the other one, Dawn Metropolis. I'm actually really happy that I got this because I do remember my buddy Lee. I saw Anamanaguchi for the first time in PAX East the first year that I went. And I remember my buddy Lee was walking around with their vinyl. And that was before I really cared about vinyl. And I was like, that's cool, but I'll just grab their CD. So I did. But now I have the vinyl too. So it's really neat that they were able to get this repressed. And I'll show this one to you guys as well, because it's also fancy and beautiful. Not a splatter effect, but still
that's
pretty
really
cool
nice
looking. Because it is kind of almost a maroon, but not quite. But it is a purple with orange on it as well. Actually, there's a maroon, purple, and orange. I just noticed holding it up to the light. I didn't see that before, so that's kind of.
I always
cool.
wondered how they do that because I think those kinds of designs are super beautiful looking. You know, more unique than the classic. You know, just black vinyl.
Yeah,
like
I'm sure you can find a video somewhere out there. I always wonder too. I do know that, like, in terms of quality, honestly, the more transparent you make them, the worse it sounds. I think because something like the audio is not as well compressed or something like that than it is on just a black or a solid color. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I understand the science of vinyls. But no, it's really cool. I'm very excited that I have those because now I have Anamanaguchi's entire library on vinyl. So, yeah. But Polyvinyl does good stuff. They signed Anamanaguchi and Ana Prada Gucci, but Armani. Yeah. So that is, I think, pretty much my week, though. Yeah. Cool. I'm trying to look around and see if I got anything else because I need to stop buying stuff.
And a quick update on the Micro Machines thing. I got my copy of not the original Micro Machines for the Mega Drive. Annoyingly, this is not the version that has that option. So I'll just pull out the cartridge. So my copy of Micro Machines 2 and Micro Machines Military on the Mega Drive, they actually have two Mega Drive controller slots there, basically in the cartridge.
Interesting.
So the very first experience I had with a 4-player game was Micro Machines Military, because that's the first Micro Machines game I actually bought myself. And I thought, this is amazing. But yeah, it turns out the first Micro Machines doesn't have that. In fact, it actually says 2-player head-to-head action or something. So I guess this one wasn't 4-player, but...
Okay.
Yeah. Try and Google it or something. Like Micro Machines Military definitely has it. I'm pretty sure Micro Machines 2 does as well. These extra... extra controller ports in the cartridge. Madness. Works really well, though.
So insane. I mean, I guess that saves you money. You don't have to buy an adapter, but I'm sure that did not make the development of the game any easier, that they had to program controller ports into the board for the cartridge.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know.
It's a great idea, though.
But that's kind of me, kind of a shorter thing. I didn't have a ton to talk about or a garbage bag full of crap to buy.
So Marcin,
good length. Yes,
buddy. I mean, this is your first time on at least the latest version of the MegaVision show. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and then tell us what you've been up to?
Yeah, for those of you that have never met me, I'm Marcin. I'm the senior editor for MegaVisions. I've been around since 2015, maybe 2014, and 2015. So it's been around 6 years, Jesus, that I've known all you fellas. And I think the last time I popped up was when the Shenmue animation popped up in August of last year. So the joke is anytime something Shenmue related happens, I just say, hey guys, I can talk about this. But yeah, I'm glad to be back. What I did this week is not as cool as I think what you guys picked up or did, but I'm playing Yakuza Kiwami 2 on PC. So and this, I guess I did pick this up recently, is I got a new gaming laptop. I can't show you because it's currently being used on me, so I can't do that. But yeah, I mean, it's super nice. It's like a small car loan, essentially, the price.
Yeah, that's
because my brother has a gaming PC, and I just needed something portable. And I know people don't like laptops because they melt your lap because they get so hot. But this one's actually very, very nice, very, very well made through Razer. So I'm trying to play all the Yakuza games essentially because they re-released all 5 or 6 or 7 of them now on Steam. So I was trying to go through all of them, and I'm on 2. And also, if you guys don't remember Blazing Dragons in the 90s, I think there was a cartoon in the UK that never came here, but there was the game version that was in the West, and it was voiced by some of the members from Monty Python. And yeah, I just loved it as a kid. It was a point and click adventure game. I thought the animation was beautiful, and I wanted to play it again. So I'm using this.
That's why you got a gaming laptop.
This super heavyweight gaming laptop for a PS1 game from 1995.
Oh wow.
That reminds me of when I got the computer I'm on now. I built it with the help of a friend of the show and site, Nick Flair, and the first thing that I played on it was Tanglewood, the Genesis indie game made for a Genesis but released on Steam. I played that as the first game on my souped up PC.
I love it.
And I'm playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 on ultra settings. It's really pushing the limit
in 4K.
That's what I always do. I was like, maybe not as old school as that, but I'd always go to a game like Oblivion, for example, which has been out for like 10 years. And I'd run that at max settings going, when your PC can run at max settings, it's like a 10-year-old game. Of course it could work. Sort of thing, like, you know.
Yeah, I'm like, World of Warcraft runs super smooth on this. I don't know. It's crazy. So pickups. I mean, the other thing that I do like board games, and during the pandemic, I think I've created more time, group time for board games, and I have bought more board games than I have in the past 5 years combined. So I picked up Horrified. If you guys don't know, Horrified is a board game on based on the Universal Studios monsters. I'm sure if Chris was here, he would give an hour tangent about each individual Universal monster. And I haven't opened it yet. I got it yesterday, but I picked that up.
Have you got it next to you? Can you show it to the camera?
I don't want to get up and go to the other room, make an awkward pause. But yeah, I do have it. I'm not lying.
Okay.
And also a couple of puzzles, because we like to do puzzles as well. One's a Pokemon one in honor of the 25th anniversary that happened yesterday, and then the other one is I don't know. I think it's like a canoe scene that looks like sunset. Like one of those nice, pretty.
For a split second, I forgot you were talking about puzzles. I thought you were talking about board games. I thought you had a canoe board game.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my head. I was picturing this canoe board game. I'm like, okay, which is not the weirdest thing. I've played a board game based on the Tour de France, so I can imagine it working.
Oh, I think I've seen that one. Yeah, you said Tour de France.
Yeah, it's called like La Flame Rouge or something. It's based on the Tour de France. But yeah, so I was imagining some canoe racing game like that or something.
No, it's so much more elegantly. You said it so much more elegantly than I did. You're like the Tour de France. I'm like, yeah, that was the Tour de France.
Tour de France. We got a twang in our accents, but awesome. Yeah, that's basically it. So that, and then once the PlayStation Games of the Month launches, they're actually putting Final Fantasy VII Remake on there, which I thought was super interesting considering it came out less than a year ago, and I figured they wouldn't do that. I thought that's saved for 5-year-old games that were decent, but hey, I'm going to jump on that. So, and I'm still looking for a PS5 because, they don't exist anywhere. Mm-hmm. They only have 5 in the whole country, and 1,000 or 1 million people are fighting over those 5. So
yeah,
that's me.
There's a topic I kind of want to discuss on the show, but I won't bring it up. I'll briefly mention it. There's a whole thing about the bots and stuff buying Xboxes and PlayStation 5s at the moment in the UK, and people are trying to get the government involved to make it illegal for that to happen, basically. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, it's nuts. I've never known a launch like this for any system. It's been this bad to get hold of stuff.
I mean, it's a combination of the pandemic and the what do you call it? The production. There's different parts that I'm sure are being held up just because of certain countries, and the slowdown of shipments and that kind of stuff. I think that adds to it. But yeah, I feel like it hasn't been this bad. I feel like when I got the PS4, I was able to get it, launch week.
Yeah, like I can understand the pandemic definitely being an issue for it, but it does seem to be that as soon as they come in stock, they're sold out so quickly, and a lot of people are saying it's actually down to bots now, which is just insane. Because there was one. Okay, actually, no, I won't go into this because I'm going to go into a massive rabbit hole about this because there's information about it. But anyway.
I was going to I was tap on 2 things real quick with what Marcin brought up there. The PlayStation, the Sony State of Play happened, and I genuinely believe that the only reason that thing happened was for the Final Fantasy VII announcements, because honestly, that was the only new info out of it. Everything else was just gameplay the gameplay of the games they already announced. Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of all. I'm not entirely surprised they're doing what they're doing with FF7 so soon, because I think a lot of it is reactionary to how people don't want it to be split up and it should be this and it should be that. I think they're handling it okay, but also, again, keep in mind, we just are still surviving a pandemic, and so everything is slower than it should be, rightfully so. But and the other thing I wanted to say is we own Horrified. We've played that. Nice. It's not too bad. It's have either you guys played Arkham Asylum, or damn it, Arkham Horror?
No.
What is that? Is that a board game?
Yes, Arkham Horror is it's what's Lovecraft. A lot of Lovecraftian related things in it, but it's essentially a co-op game where I think it's up to 8 player, which is barely manageable at that point. But the TLDR version of what that game is you are in Victorian times. I think it's been a while, but you basically are in Old England and you are with a group of people that have different abilities and different professions, and portals open up. You start the game by picking essentially the boss. And the worst thing you can get, for example, is Cthulhu, which I did the first time playing. Since I was the newbie first time playing, I picked the random monster that'll be eventually unearthed, hopefully not. I picked the worst one in the game. How about that? And so what happens as you go is these portals open up and you are on it. It's a co-op game overall, but you have to work on closing these portals because the more portals that open up, the more likely Cthulhu will awaken. Ooh. The monster awakens eventually no matter what, but the more portals, it makes it more difficult because other demons and creatures get teleported into the real world. And there's I'm overly simplifying it, but Horrified is a much more streamlined, kind of more user-friendly version of that because, like Morrison said, you're fighting the universal monsters, but you can fight like just 2 of them, or you can have, I think the max is 6 monsters or something. I think so. But it is still a co-op game, so Horrified is cool because it's a management game, but you do work together. The main thing that it's so similar to Arkham Horror. Sorry, it's so hard to not say Arkham Asylum. With Arkham Horror, you also have to manage your own sanity and your health and save villagers and civilians as you go. The same thing's kind of in Horrified as well, but again, much more streamlined. So
see, it sounded like the structure was kind of like Pandemic. It sounded like it was like, you have diseases here, and then you work together to get rid of the diseases. I mean, not completely similar, but I think it had a similar vibe. Okay. Where is it like in each round you get another monster, or I mean, I didn't open the box yet, so I don't know.
And that one, no, in Horrified, you pick from the beginning. Like, I think it recommends that you start with, I believe, the creature from the Black Lagoon and Dracula. I think is like the starter scenario, because they each have different things you have to prevent from happening or do from happening. Like the creature, you have his lair, and there's like these boat things you have to fill in to find his. So every turn or whatever, you go like through these things, and one of them might be, do I have enough to get a boat closer to his lair to eventually stop him? Or for Dracula, it's you have to like find 5 coffins and stake the coffins or something. So it's like you go to run a place, it's like, do I have enough to do this? No, but I can save these people. Let me put a stake through the coffin, or you don't. And then eventually Dracula's out and about and trying to attack you and stuff. So there's management in that regard, but both are cool games. Arkham Horror, though, takes commitment, and it is like extensive, and you have to commit a day to playing one scenario in that game.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, but not as personalized.
Right.
It's good if you have someone who's played it multiple times or whatever. It's literally every time my friends and I have played it, my one buddy, Brendan, like he knows it back and forth and doesn't need the rule book. So he's basically the DM, even though it's a co-op game and there is no DM. But yeah, Arkham, it's, I think they've even released like a cards only version of Arkham Horror, which I haven't tried, but I don't imagine it would be as what's it called? The word that starts with I, not inclusive. Immersive, not as immersive in my opinion, without like the whole board setup and everything. So both really cool games. Arkham Horror is not as user friendly as Horrified. I like Horrified more, just probably because also the recognizability of the enemies. But yeah,
cool.
And we'll be back later in the episode with our board game corner.
Yeah, yes, we will.
So just a preview, a nice little preview.
Awesome. Cool. So I guess moving on to me. So little update. Last week I mentioned how my Xbox One X had died again, and it was basically stuck in a loop of wanting to download an update. The update was only like 500 or 600 megabytes in size. So it wasn't a big update, but it just kept getting stuck and breaking. And even if I went back and like wiped the console and stuff, like sent it back to factory reset settings, it would like let me log in and like, log into my profile, and it would have all my apps and stuff start loading up, and then it'll go, oh, we need to do an update. Don't worry, it'll be worth it. And it's like, oh no, it's the same number I could see, and then like it just break again. And eventually managed to get it fixed though. Huzzah! So yeah, after many fiddling around and just trying to get stuff working, it just started working.
Do you even know what was wrong with it?
I don't actually know exactly what was wrong with it. But I did the offline update again. I've been trying. So the previous time it broke, there's something to do with the fact I was using the Xbox Insider account, and there was an update which was something that had broken it or something. So I had to get a file that you get from Microsoft's website, put it on a USB stick and plug it in, and then tell the Xbox to do an offline update from that. So I was trying to do that again using the same file on the USB stick, and I was like, this is still not working. So I basically went back to the Microsoft website, re-downloaded that file, thinking maybe they'd updated it or something. It's still the same file name though and everything. So I can't tell if they've actually done any changes to it, but putting down the memory stick and then plugging it in seemed to work. So that seems to have fixed it. Although, we'll see how it goes. So, but the good thing is I can keep playing Immortals: Rise of Phoenix, because that is still my jam. Still loving that game, even though not playing it as much as I used to.
That's great.
Question.
Yeah.
You might have mentioned this. Did you try playing it offline, like not having your console connected to the internet? Did that?
Yes.
That or not.
It just kept trying to do the update anyway.
Really?
Basically, it would not let me do it. It would not let me play it's weird. Basically, as soon as it tries to do the update, if I turn off the Xbox and then like even turned off the Wi-Fi and stuff, so there's no internet in the house, like when you turn the Xbox on, it's like, oh, we need to do an update. And then it's like, start update, turn off Xbox. So the two options I had. So it's like, God damn it.
Cool.
For God's sake. So it wasn't even like, I don't want this update, I want you to ignore it. It was like some sort of compulsory update. And it's just like, you either do the update or you're not playing on me anymore.
Jesus Christ. It's like you have two options. Either eat the gun or shoot your foot.
Basically.
Sorry, that's a little extreme, I guess, but
yeah, it's
that is the pinnacle of the technological age we're in, because that's like, I've had this happen before. It's trying to set up a network where I live, and like your router's not connecting or whatever. So you are sitting on your computer and it's like, oh, it looks like your router's not working. For step-by-step instructions, go to this website. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Expect you to check your phone. They know you have everyone has like 15 devices apparently.
Yeah. So. Well, it's almost like the digital version of trying to get a job, but you don't have experience for it. But the only way you can get experience is to do the job, sort of thing. Like it's just like
catch 22.
But yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, I'm not like, I feel like I'm fairly technically savvy, so I was able to do this, but it took me a while to actually work out like why things were going wrong and stuff, because I kept trying different things out. I did actually go and check the error messages and stuff online, and like the error messages seem to relate to about 10 different things, so they don't even really help that much. But yeah, if like, for example, my brother's really smart, but he's not quite as technically savvy as I am. And I feel like he would just be like, oh, my Xbox is broken, and just wouldn't be able to fix it. Like, so yeah, it's just one of those really frustrating things, but it's fixed. Hopefully, touch wood, it'll keep going for a little bit longer. Because
wait, hold on.
What?
Touch wood?
Touch wood.
We say knock on wood.
Oh, we say touch wood.
That sounds like you're gonna fix someone's wiener.
Yeah, touch wood.
So you don't even knock on it. You just place your hand on the wood.
Well, we can't. Sometimes some people tap it, or some people just put their hand on it, like touch wood.
You know what? I understand. You want to be more polite, so you don't knock on the wood. You just touch it.
You're like, excuse me, do you mind if I just... There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, just a little...
You immediately ball your fist up and then just start hitting it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right.
I never knew that, because I know there's a song that goes, I'm gonna knock on wood, baby.
Yeah, the impression
is that what
I
they're talking
get by
about?
Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Is
that
I don't think it came from the song. I mean, they used it because
that's what they mean in the songs. I've never really.
But that would sound much worse as I'm gonna touch wood. Yeah, like it doesn't. It's not that good, like of a flow either. But it also not what they were going for.
Oh my god, I love it when random things come across in like different cultures that speak the same language. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. I'm sure there's dozens more. So just keep giving us metaphors, and we're like, yeah, that's a new one. I didn't know that one.
Just very briefly, one came up last night with me and my girlfriend. Girlfriend. She's actually my fiance. I keep saying girlfriend for some reason.
Congratulations!
Hey,
hey, surprise!
She's Australian, and I think in America you say the same as what we say in the UK, which is candy floss for that stuff you get at fairgrounds.
No, we call it cotton candy.
Oh,
Actually,
you call it cotton candy, don't you? You call it something different.
I know exactly what the hell you were talking about.
Oh my god! So we call it candy.
I thought you were talking about like nerd rope or something.
Oh no! Okay, so we call it different things in the 3 different countries that speak English. We call it different things. So you guys call it cotton candy, which makes sense because it's kind of like cottonish.
Yeah.
We call it candy floss. I'm not sure why. And then in Australia, they call it fairy floss.
Nice.
I don't like that.
I mean, it's like what? Because it's pink and blue. I don't even. I mean, are there any other colors besides pink and blue cotton candy? I don't even know.
I think you can get it in any color, but because it's just food dye. But I think primarily it's pink.
Yeah,
the
I
standard
see it in pink.
Fairy floss makes it sound like it's a magical creature's used floss. Like after they're done flossing, they just drop it, and since it just goes through the clouds into our human world, and we eat it.
I could just imagine like a fun fair, like a fairground going, roll up, get your fairy feces. Ta-da! It's like a stick of.
Okay,
I hope no one ever does that for their carnival candy.
Yeah, speaking of names of things, though, Graham, I think we've got our title of Touch Wood and Fairy Floss for this week's episode.
Excellent. Oh, man. Anyway, moving on a little bit. So I've got some pickups this week. Yes. So I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, but Chris mentioned this a few weeks ago. His version of a Dreamcast game developed ported from an indie company called Drascula. The Vampire Strikes Back has landed. So I backed this on Kickstarter. I got a pack where I got digital codes for a lot of old. So this is actually an old PC point-and-click adventure game, which a company has ported. They're called ERBE Software. I don't know if you can read that. Like herbs.
Yeah.
So
I can't get over that box art still.
Yeah. So they've ported it to the Dreamcast, and this is like clearly made in like Microsoft iMovie, or something like that. Like just it's just a print on a piece of paper. There's a little slip inside, which is quite nice. And the actual game CD is just that basically. So
wow,
yeah,
really you showed us that last week. So for listeners, for listeners that maybe missed out the other week, the cover of this, it's literally like white and orange with the white film strip, and it looks like the cover of an iMovie like menu. And then the disc itself is just all white with what? Could you hold up the disc again?
Oh yeah,
I think it was like the bottom, the bottom rightish corner.
Actually,
the company logo is bigger than the title of the game. On the
It looks like my communion recording, like what they used. The company who recorded my communion, my first communion.
Yeah,
it looks identical to that guy.
And the cover to me, like it's an orangey color. To me, it looks like the printers running out of ink. That's like the color.
A little bit.
But,
hey, that's indie game dev though.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm not knocking them at all. Well, it sounds like we're knocking them. We kind of are making a bit of fun of it.
I don't mean to.
Yeah, I'm super happy they've done this because it's just cool to see these releases, and I'm backed on Kickstarter. I'm not upset I've got it or anything. The one thing I am slightly annoyed about is that my case is completely down. You can't really see it. The case is all cracked at the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's just a CD dual case, so I can easily get that replaced. It's just like. Yeah, when I got it, I was like, what is this? It's like, I could feel it cracking in the fingers.
I fully believe that like if CDs had stuck around any longer, that they would have started repackaging them, because those are, in the history of like media cases, jewel cases are probably the worst.
Yeah.
Do you think they're recyclable? I feel like they must be.
Yeah, probably.
Hope so. But yeah, I haven't actually played this yet, so I'll check it out. But I actually read that they say to use the Dreamcast mouse and keyboard is like the best experience.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'd like to give that a go. And
hell yeah.
yeah. In fact, that's it. So on the back of this little slip insert, which has got a little coloured printing of like the game. It's like a little image on the back, little printed out. I don't know if you can read that. You can't read that on the camera. It says, "We recommend using the official Sega Dreamcast keyboard and mouse." That's all it says there.
Does it say that on the back? Like, does it show the controllers you can use or anything on the back of the box?
Oh no, it's just like 3 little screenshots.
Damn.
So yeah, the game, the artwork on the case does seem very much like an iMovie template for making your own homemade movie sort of thing. So like insert
definitely
3 images here sort of thing. But it's cool. I'll try and give it a play and maybe get back to you guys and let you know how it is like next week or so.
Yes. What you're about to also present to us, I think, Graham, it's silly and still amazing to me how excited I get for Dreamcast and like old retro indie releases compared to anything else in video games.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah.
I think it's just
nothing's
amazing.
comparable.
2021 and they're still creating games for them. I mean, because there is still a market for it, and why not?
So
which
the
is
next
even crazier.
The next pickup I've got, which so basically it started as a Kickstarter a few years ago. The Kickstarter was cancelled eventually, and then they decided just to make the game in their spare time and release it, and that is Xenocider for the Sega Dreamcast.
Look at that box
by
art.
Retro Summers.
Wow.
Insane graphics on the back, and looks pretty cool on the back.
I'm sorry, I overtook.
Oh no, that's okay.
Say the name. Say the name again because I spoke over you saying it.
Xenocider.
Yeah.
Or Xenocider. I don't know. Anyway. The box. I don't know if you can describe the box art. It's just kind of like this.
Oh, yes, I totally will. Hold it up, please. So if you could go to an Iron Maiden concert and all of the band members were replaced with ladies and they needed to fight a 5-headed Hydra, which is redundant. Or how many heads does a Hydra have? But it's like this lady with a pink mohawk and just exoskeleton sci-fi armor that looks like it could be part of her gun. She's got, of course, face paint only over her eyes, and she's firing off at something while the monster behind her, which I don't even know how to describe that, like a 5-headed frog with fangs and crazy snake eyes.
Kind of reminds me of a gremlin in a way.
Yeah.
With like pink makeup on it or something.
She's like a cross between like Mad Max, and then I don't know if you guys remember in Star Wars Episode 1, the pod racing scene, you had these women with like the sharpshooter things. She looks almost exactly like that.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
I was going to say also, I went and grabbed my copy of Gunlord. If you look at the box art for that, for Dreamcast, like I feel like these could go next to each other in an art gallery or something.
Yeah.
Their style is very like, not as much with Gunlord, but with Xenocider, it has like that pencil look to it, but it's like a brighter pencil-y drawn metal album cover.
Yeah, basically. The back is pretty cool as well. It's got another hand-drawn image and then some screenshots and a little bit of info about the game, and then the compatibility of it says 60 frames per second, sense VMU, vibration pack, VJ compatible, arcade stick, twin stick. So yeah, and region free, and it's got a cool little picture of the arcade stick there as well. So you could they had like a steelbook edition, which was only limited to like 50 copies. They also had a PAL version, which is also limited to 50 copies. And then they released, this is the special edition, which I think they've got loads of copies of this. And then they've got like a normal dual case version as well. So the special edition has, the game is actually still in my Dreamcast, but that's the CD for it. So it's actually got the soundtrack with it as well. And then just like a little paper slip, sort of explaining a bit more about the game and stuff inside. And then like the people who worked on the game in the back. But yeah, I streamed this on Friday. That was the first time I actually played it, first time I picked it up and anything. So yeah, streamed it on Friday. And here's the thing, I bought this kind of to support indie development, kind of the same way that I did with Jaskula. And I'm not a huge fan of shooters, like on-rail shooters and stuff. I'm not a big fan of the Panzer Dragoon games I love, and like Star Fox I love. But those are kind of the only ones that really grip me. Like Space Harrier, you kind of used to enjoy back in the day, but kind of never really got hugely into it. So I wasn't expecting myself to, wasn't expecting too much from this game, but I ended up having so much fun. I was playing. I can't remember what time I started. I think I started around like 11 p.m. UK time and ended up going to bed about 3 a.m. So I was playing it for a good 4 hours on the street or something. Yeah, so it's. I was having a blast with it. It's a pretty fun game. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know about it, as I say, it's kind of like almost an on-rail shooter, but it's not quite like Panzer Dragoon and Star Fox, where like the camera does sometimes move around and like your ship or dragon will move between stuff. You're literally going straight forward in like a kind of straight line, but you can sort of sidestep left and right to different points across that line. You can also jump, so you can do a little hovery jump type thing, but it only lasts for a few seconds, and then you land. But you angle your gun like ahead of you and stuff, and shoot things. And you also get some like what they call, I think they're called like Xenobots or something, which you can set to have different things. Xenopods, that's it. Thank you. So you can have one like as a shield and one as a nuke button, or you can set them to be like both extra guns and stuff to just help you like progress through the game. And yeah, but this is so much fun. And Carlos from Retro Summits actually jumped on the stream with us and was actually chatting in the chat. And he was actually helping me, give me some little hints and tips and stuff
nice.
to play through it. The thing I love about this game and what I think is awesome, especially from an indie company, is there's like loads of different game modes to unlock. There's like 5 extra game modes you can unlock. There's little in-game achievements you can get and stuff. They put so much effort into this game. I mean, when you look at the screenshots, I think visually you think it looks solid, but maybe not like the best of the Dreamcast. But when you're actually playing the game, it looks so fantastic. Like as I was playing it, I was like, this game looks bloody cool. And the music is fantastic. The bosses are some of the best boss creations I've seen in games in years.
Crab.
Like, at one point I was just like, that is the best. I said live on the stream, I was like, that is probably the best boss I've seen in a long time. It looks so cool. And Scotty, I think you left before this. I got to, I believe is the last level, which is kind of got a very Japanesey Sakura kind of theme to it, and it's awesome. I won't say any more. I thought that level looked beautiful at points. But yeah, I'm digging this game. I might even try streaming it again next week. But yeah, big fan.
Do you have the arcade stick for Dreamcast?
I don't have the arcade stick, and I don't have the twin stick, which is really annoying because I'd love to try out those.
Yeah, because I asked you how the controls are, I asked you how it felt, but also like how the controls do actually work. Because you were saying that you use the stick to move your reticle. Remember, this is the Dreamcast controller, only one thumbstick. You use the stick to move your reticle, and then to shift left and right, you use the L and R buttons.
Yeah, the L and R triggers to
that was so nice. I didn't see it like in person or not on a picture. So that looks so.
Yeah,
nice.
with the Striker DC pad. Yeah. And then you fire with that button. These use your pods, your different pods. So like the
B and X?
Yeah, B and X, and then Y is jump, basically. So
I was trying to think like I cannot. Well, okay, 2 things. It uses the arcade stick. It also uses the twin stick controller, which I have. So I'm excited. I was staring at my phone so much because I was trying to see which version of the game I pre-ordered. And it's the same one that you got, the special edition with the soundtrack, because I unfortunately also missed out on the Steelbook. But I was thinking about that. Like, that means like with the arcade stick, you've got to have like one hand entirely on the face buttons for L and R to go right and left, and then on the stick. And I'm sure it's going to be extra hard mode when I use the twin sticks, because like the right ones probably move left and right while I'm moving. Like I'm going to be patting my head and rubbing my belly at the same time trying to play this game, essentially. Yeah, because that's how it was for Xeno Crisis. Uses the twin stick on the Dreamcast version, and that was hard enough for me to just have a top-down Smash TV thing of shooting with one hand while moving with the left hand.
Okay.
But I said this while you were streaming. More emphasis to how Chris said that controller that you just held up that they just released, they really should have put a second stick on it, because if game devs now can incorporate the twin stick, then I'm not going to pretend I know game development, but you would think that they could maybe map it for 2 thumbsticks. So if that new controller was like forward thinking and had a second stick, it could have worked with this game and Xeno Crisis and stuff. It'd be really cool to see that.
That would be amazing. Yeah, if they could do that. That'd be so cool. But yeah, and I was just going to say,
one more the bosses, but go ahead.
Oh, when you talk about like rubbing your head and patting your belly, that's kind of how I felt when I first started playing the game at one point, because I was like just really trying to get used to sidestepping and aiming. If that sounds really weird. Like I played first person shooters and stuff and get hang of those really easily, but for some reason this felt a bit different. But yeah, once you get used to it, it does become more natural. The game is very challenging, I will say that, but it's challenging in a good way. Once you get used to how enemies work and stuff and some of the level layouts, you kind of get into your rhythm and your flow, and you can get to the end of them quite easily. Like I think the first level I lost all my lives twice in a row. I was like, damn it, I'm stuck at this game. But then I eventually managed to get to like the last level a couple of times. But yes, even though when you get the hang of it, it's still a challenging game, and that's what I think is really cool about it. And I will. Oh, that's the other thing. Each level has 2 routes in it, so you get to choose at the start the different routes of the level. So the way the level plays out is a little bit different. You have the same boss at the end, and sometimes with different colors, but like different color palettes on the boss. But it's the same boss. But yeah, you can experience the level slightly differently. But I'm really and once you get to a certain point, you actually unlock like a Space Harrier mode. So they've kind of recreated Space Harrier in this game, which I thought was really cool. As I said, I'm not a massive fan of Space Harrier, but just playing that, I was like, this is freaking awesome. And then there's some other modes you can unlock as well, which I haven't done yet. But yeah. So what were you going to ask? You're going to ask something about the bosses or say something about the bosses? I
was just going to say praise 2 things about it. One is the boss design is great because it's either I think it was the second level where you're underwater, and the second boss is a hermit crab, but is a giant hermit crab that has used half of a pirate ship as its shell. And that's not spoilers describing it to people, because that, I hope, makes them want to go and look this up and see how ridiculous this game is. And the other thing is, despite the fact that it's an on-rail shooter, I thought, and also kind of all the video and all the screenshots you saw was just the character on the hoverboard, but it really didn't do well to depict those screenshots and stuff didn't really do well to depict how different each level is, because the first level you're on the hoverboard, then another one you're actually walking on the ocean floor, and then another one you're like, I forget if it was a river or something, but you were like waist high in water, trying to avoid
like a swampy kind of mud. Yeah.
So I just thought that was cool, because they could have been lazy and just like every level you're on a hoverboard, or like Space Harrier, you're only running or flying. But I thought that was it's a minor thing, but it does switch up the feel and the aesthetic.
And I'm not sure if it's my subconscious or something, but I swear on the underwater level, your targeting thing is a little bit slower because you're underwater.
Oh, maybe.
I'm sure when I was like playing it, I was like, it feels really stiff. And then so the next level was like, it's easy again. Like, so yeah, I think that's a design thing, which I thought was a nice little touch, really. Yeah.
And Retro Samus, Carlos of Retro Samus, he did say it is difficult, but it's kind of giving it that arcadey feel of repetitive and unlocking stuff, or not repetitive, but replayability.
Yeah. Oh, there's one other big thing about the game. You actually, depending on how well you do in the levels, and there's also like a bonus level after each level, you get these credits which you then use to upgrade your abilities, like your shield, your defense, your attack, your nuke, for example. Or you can buy extra lives as well. So like basically it's kind of like an arcade game where you lose lives as you go through. You're losing lives basically, so you kind of have to be careful how many lives you've got before you go into each level and stuff. But I think that's a really cool thing, because you can kind of play the game in different ways. So you can either just like jack up your firing ability and like not care about anything else, or basically plan your own strategy, which I thought was a nice little touch. It makes it a bit more replayable again as well. And I'm really excited to play it again, to get back into it. And I feel that's a lot of games sort of miss out on these days, like unlocking all these extra modes and stuff. And really good arcade experience, basically. It made me remember how good arcade games were, really. So awesome.
It's going to get thrown into the Dreamcast marathon rotation for sure.
Oh, excellent. Good. Really happy about that.
Because I think because of that arcadey feel, like during the marathon, we try to find stuff that even if it's single player, we can rotate, and that'll definitely be like die, hand over the controller, beat a level, maybe hand over the controller,
Yeah. Awesome. So. Cool. So I guess that does it for me. I don't know if there's any other questions from Martin or anything about
No, I mean, I just remember writing about it when they first launched their Kickstarter, and it felt like years ago. So it's awesome that you're enjoying it, and then the box art looks fantastic. That looks super fun. So if you guys ever do it on Twitch, I'll definitely jump in and want to watch you guys play.
Yeah, well, maybe next Friday I might do it. I don't know if Scotty's going to play it as well at all this week.
I don't have it yet.
Okay,
I believe the company's I believe Retro Samus is UK based, so you got yours already,
I think they're actually Spanish, made in Spain. It says on the back.
I just remember seeing the euros.
Okay. UK would be pounds, sir. Great Queen's British pound.
I don't care. Well, maybe I'll knock on wood and get it at some point. But I know they're not in North America, so I have not gotten my copy yet. But I also pre-ordered mine literally.
Scotty, you froze. You froze for a few seconds.
I froze. Now I'm back.
I pre-ordered it literally.
Yeah, you sound fine. You pre-ordered it when?
Tune in after the break to find out. No, I pre-ordered it just back in December, but the Kickstarter was a year or two ago, so I'm sure the Kickstarter copies.
Yeah, so just to be clear, the Kickstarter, they actually cancelled it. Carlos actually mentioned that as he was talking in the chat the other day. Like they started the Kickstarter. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. He said
that's what it was. Yep.
And then he said that the Kickstarter was cancelled, and they basically worked on this in their spare time. So they didn't have any extra funding or anything. They literally their own money pouring into it between like day jobs and stuff. So to me, that's even more impressive in a way. They weren't able to get the full. I don't know if they cancelled it because for whatever reason, or if it just failed. I'm not sure. But,
I don't know if it reached its target.
Yeah, I assume it didn't reach any target. I don't know if they cancelled it before.
Reach out and try to get an interview and ask these questions.
Maybe we should. Let's tune in for another show. Hey. Hopefully we can get him on the show. I'd love that. But but cool. Yeah. So even more impressive, I think. So check it out.
I agree.
Xenocider. Also check out Dracula the Vampire Strikes Back. You can get it on Steam as well, actually. They released it on Steam, so
I think Xenocider's only on Dreamcast, right?
Sorry. Xenocider is Dreamcast only. Dracula Vampire Strikes Back is on Steam. So there you go. Sorry. But Xenocider, yes. Dreamcast. Woohoo. Okay, anyway. So do we want to go into the mail sack, or do we want a quick break? What would you like to do, chaps?
Let's take a look here. We don't have much in the mail sack, so we could maybe do that and then do a break.
Yeah, Martin, you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Cool. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to Scotty Moe's mail sack of wonder.
Here it is, where you ask us stuff and we answer it. Hooray! Mr. Haru's thing, and it's more.
We're back live.
It's just due to. Okay, hello.
Sorry. Scotty quickly wanted to read through something and then didn't give him time. Sorry.
Anyway, can you get it? All right, and it's time for the mail sack. Okay, so we actually got some feedback from not last episode, but the previous episode, where Graham and I quickly watched the Snyder Cut trailer for the Justice League movie coming out. Mr. Haru in the Discord had some things to say about that. He said, he had a lot to say, but I think we can go through this. He said, I'm personally not going to care for the Snyder Cut since I'm a huge fan of Batman and The Flash and loathe what they did to both characters. A new cut of the movie won't personally get me to watch it. Unsure if the cut will really somehow fix the overall theming behind the movie or its payoff, but I don't want to see it either.
Interesting. Isn't that the whole purpose of the Snyder Cut? The fact that they weren't happy with what happened to the characters or the movie,
now you get
so they wanted to redo it
versus an hour and a half of pain. But I don't know.
I think your reasons to not see it are exactly why it's being made. So I think you should still. I'm always going to say still just check it out, because I've watched so much garbage that I'm happier that I've seen the garbage than just saying it's bad without knowing anything about it.
I mean, that's a reasonable take. I feel like most people, shit on it before they even see it. So I mean, I guess I think it's good to at least give it a chance. Like, we know we've been burned before in most DC movies, but I think it's important to at least take a look at it. And I'm paying $15 for HBO Max, so I'm going to take advantage of that. So I'm definitely going to see it.
I need to work out how I can watch it in the UK because we don't get HBO Max over here. So
I'm sure there'll be some way you can watch it. There's no way.
I'm sure there's some kind of partnership that they're like, you can stream it through, I don't know, Hulu or Netflix gets it in the UK or something.
I don't think we've got Hulu over here either. Like, we don't have access to it.
Oh, really?
We might do now, but I've never seen it advertised or anything over here. But like, we do have other ones which you don't. We have something called Now TV, which tends to be the one that gets like that. For example, that got Game of Thrones like at the same time that you guys got it in America and stuff, so we can stream it live at the same time. So yeah, it's probably go there.
I would also argue that there were. I don't know if this is proven fact or not, that there were rumors that they reshot some things with it. But what I thought of though is like, there have been times in movies or series where I've hated a character up until a certain scene, and like literally it's that scene that turned around my opinion on them, and like everything following made more sense, and I enjoyed them more as a character or as some of the themes went in the show. So I could honestly see this making it feel like it's a better movie because of adding or what he wanted to do with the theming or the movies or the characters or the stories within it. So yeah, I understand you not wanting to watch it literally because it's 4 hours, but I'd still say give it a shot. It sounds like
is it 4 hours long? I didn't realize it's 4 hours.
Oh yeah, yes, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you will enjoy this.
I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan, but I'll still strap in anyway. So let's find out.
You're a fan of long movies.
I can dig it.
Yeah, I still say give it a chance. I think about when I was working at GameStop, and as a musician, I would give so much shit to the game Wii Music after the presentation of that and everything. I'm like, don't bother with this. But I finally did rent it, and I was like, oh my God, this is worse than I thought. But now I can actually say why this is horrible because I've played it. And so,
I didn't think it even came out. I thought they just like showed it and then people shat on it, and then it never came out.
It exists.
I remember it coming out. Yeah,
it doesn't. You don't need any musical background or musical theory background or anything. As long as even if the biggest takeaway from it for me was I like completely failed a song because I didn't know you had to hold down an A button while you waggle the Wiimote to play a different pitch. And like, I botched this song entirely. It's like, well, you failed the song, but you just unlocked these things. Like, why did I unlock anything?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
You played the game.
I'd actually forgotten that existed, that game. Wow.
It's one of the worst games I've ever played.
Yeah.
But
I'm intrigued.
And then he says,
so I was just going to say very quickly, I'm almost interested. I am interested to hear what was ruined about Batman and the Flash for him in that movie. Like, he says, I loathed what they did to both characters, but I'm not sure what they did that was that bad.
If Chris were here, he could tell us how they messed things up. Probably.
I mean, I enjoyed I enjoyed the Justice League movie to an extent. I don't think it's a great movie, but there were moments as I mentioned last week, I was like, this is fine to me. It's by far not the best Batman appearance ever, but there are bits of it that are entertaining enough. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, I'm just interested in why he's so passionate about it. Like,
yeah, feel free to let us know, Mr. Hart, if you want to. And then another comment regarding WandaVision. He says, I think the interest of it is purely on the fact that it's building up from a new 0 point. Whatever may be brewing behind the scenes on it definitely gives more chills overall to the MCU as a whole. And I don't think it'll resolve itself by the show's finale. 100% agree with that. He says the question itself of what the fuck is up with Vision? Who did this? Who's actually the horse behind it? Force, not the horse. The force behind it. Why they chose sitcoms of the ages. Keeps him invested as it is because he doesn't think the Marvel... I'll just read what he said. I don't think Marvel had anything nearly as ambitious since Doctor Strange. It may actually be into a trilogy of events with Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So excited for the future. And also adds to what could be worse than Thanos. Well, we may have an answer with this new shit.
Yep. Nice. I agree with that.
I think, Graham, you were going to start WandaVision. You haven't seen it yet?
Oh, I've seen all of it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
No,
okay.
Yeah, I've been watching it. I watched the latest episodes this morning, in fact. And I feel like
I thought last night or Friday was the season finale, but I guess there's one more next week.
Yeah,
there's rumors that there's going to be a secret extra episode.
And I'm still like waiting for like all the end credit scenes. I'm like, God damn it, you're doing it in the TV show.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't do that, please. Not in everything. I mean, I'll wait, I guess, but you don't have to send it to the TV too. We can save it for the movie theater if you really want to, but I feel like it's also been played out so much.
I think it's obnoxious that they have an after credit sequence in a TV show. I'll say it. It's not. I understand the budget behind the show is probably up there with the movies, but you are not so high and mighty that you need an after credit sequence in your sitcom or whatever.
But audiences are now so conditioned to at least for those blockbuster movies to wait until an end credit scene, because I think the Sonic movie did that too, didn't they? Wasn't spoilers? Wasn't there like a scene with Eggman and whatever and Tails, and that was not at the end? It was like in the middle of their credits. No,
they had
one of them was, I think,
the Eggman.
One of them. I know one of them was.
The Robotnik thing was before the credits kicked in, and then Tails was a mid credits.
The point is that like studios are just doing it now because like Marvel did it, and now they're just doing it just because it's just because it's the cool thing to do at this point. I don't, I get, unless they want us to admire everyone who made the movie, which is great, but I think most people are just kind of their eyes glaze over when the credits roll, and they're just waiting for that scene. So.
Yeah, I guess though,
it's a neat little chat.
I'm still happy with them, to be honest, because I feel like it does. Yeah, people sit there and will watch the credits too. That all these amazing people worked on these movies or whatever. But also, if you're really invested in it and you want to find out a little nugget extra about the storyline or the background, there will be this little thing that you'll get to see, which won't appear again in the next movie or anything. It's just like a little nugget to sort of say, this is what's going to come up, sort of thing. So
I guess in a certain sense, like it wouldn't flow well if you just do it at the end, like you need a little break, and then it's like, meanwhile on blah, 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 and then you have something else pop up. So I guess
in particular with the Marvel ones, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm pretty sure I'm correct in saying this, all of the end credit scenes are shown from the perspective of one of the people who isn't actually one of the main characters you follow throughout the movie, if that makes sense. So there will be a main character in the movie, but it's not someone you see from their perspective. So like it will then be showing them something from their side, almost like what they're working on or doing or anything. So it's kind of, I feel like it would break the flow of the movie if like, hey, we're following these guys, these are the heroes, we're following them, oh, by the way, this is what the bad guy's doing on the side. And then back again.
Yes, excellent. All according to plan. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a douchebag or maybe play devil's advocate here. I believe that the other after credit sequence are a result of lazy writing because they can't fit it into the actual show story.
I mean, it could be too. It's obviously a pattern that they've created. I don't think it's like we're all lazy writers. Every single movie that came out, we just can't fit it. Every single time, we just can't fit it in the movie. I think it's an intentional thing, obviously.
I think my viewpoint of that also comes from the first episode that has an after credit sequence in WandaVision. We didn't even see. I didn't even know existed until after I was watching someone else's commentary and like thoughts on it. Because WandaVision, each episode has like a 38-minute runtime, but like 8 of that minutes is the freaking credits.
Yeah.
And they have the dramatic like Marvel-esque credits afterwards and stuff. That's cool. Mm-hmm. And then they have it in like 5 or 16 different languages. But there's so much that we just assume after the show's done that all of this is just filler crap. And so we didn't even know we missed a thing. But it's been a roller coaster watching the show in the slightest bit, because the day we were going to watch it, we were going to binge it after it was done, but literally like the week following the Friday of last week's episode, to like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna call them out. IGN had a fucking thing that was spoilers in their title, and Good Mythical Morning on their Instagram totally spoiled the latest episode as well. And I'm like, holy shit. Good thing we're keeping up with stuff, because 2 professional outlets, not only did they spoil it, but it was spoiled like in the post or in the title. So even if you accidentally scrolled past, it's just, fuck you. Sorry, we want to take something at our own pace.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, it's not good practice. I mean, I'm assuming because for them, if you put it in the content, like people are like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know that happened. And then you're going to click on it. Or you're going to click on it because you're angry and you're going to tell them, hey, go fuck yourself. Why did you put this in your post?
Yeah.
So, I think it might be the way to take it.
And my one solid complaint, this is again me being an old man or just a little bitch. I kind of don't like that they have the epic Marvel opening for a TV show. Like, I can understand the big dun 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 dun, dun like zooming through all the characters and all the scenes and all the big things within the logo, but it's a TV show, it's not a movie. So you're like creating like extra anxiety for me, and I just want to watch this TV show.
Yeah,
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I mean, like it's like the first like official like Marvel TV show, right? Like from this iteration of Marvel movies and whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess if you take into account the Shield and all that kind of stuff, but I don't consider that as like the main thing.
I mean, Shield is kind of very separate from the movies to the point that when stuff was happening on Earth with Thanos, they went into the future, basically. Spoiler alert for the TV show. So yeah, they're not around. These excellent heroes aren't around to help save the day as well. Basically.
Yeah, I think the show that had the closest storyline matching up with the MCU before it became the MCU was actually Agent Carter, which got canned real quick, unfortunately. But with Peggy Carter, was that her full name? I don't remember.
Oh, actually, no. Even though I just said that about
Shield,
Agents of Shield, the first season does tie in with the Captain America movies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I forgot about that, but they kind of are separate still from. They kind of keep their stories kind of separate away from a lot of what's happening.
To your point, Marcin, damn it! I just want to complain about stuff, guys. I don't want to be.
But I have to admit, I do disagree with you slightly, Scotty, on the end credits thing being lazy writing. I think there's other reasons, but if that's how you feel, that's cool. I mean,
I don't know.
I think I can completely understand why people don't like it. Personally, I'm still digging it. Although, I do need to clarify something. When did they start adding end credit scenes to WandaVision? Because just like you, I didn't, for the first 3 episodes, I kind of skipped the credits. And then it was only like the last few, I think I saw, they've actually got an end credit scene. Ooh.
So I believe, as of recording today, the most recent episode is episode 8, correct?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And episode 7 and 8 are the only one with post-credit sequences.
Okay, that's good. That's the only ones I think I've seen. So yeah. Cool.
And I can't. It's totally spoilers. I can't say why I didn't like the leading more towards why I thought it was lazy writing. I can't say why, because it's definitely spoilers for some of it. But god damn it, I can't even say this. I didn't like the latest episode as much as previous episodes. I can't say why. Fuck.
Is it too much exposition for you?
I miss
it's vague.
More sitcom references than this episode had.
Okay.
I see.
Even that's treading lightly around spoilers. So yeah.
I mean, this whole show is honestly like, I don't think they were planning to make this like a multi-season show. It feels like it's just this one section where they just want to use a way to tie it in with their next batch of movies. I don't think there's going to be other seasons.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think this is one and done, and like this is their.
And I think their theme is multiverse. Like the next series of movies, just everything's multiverse, and a clusterfuck of different characters and universes and all that stuff. So
yeah, I'm going to tread lightly with this, but Scarlet Witch, okay, and people are saying that this is going to tie in mostly of all the movies coming up. It's so easily to tie it in with Doctor Strange and what was it called? Multiverse of Madness, which makes sense with certain characters. I can't even say that. God damn it.
You can just say spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, don't listen.
I don't know what to... Graham, you need to come up with a graphic or something that just has spoilers across the thing as we're streaming, so that if somebody comes in like right after I say spoilers, I then can't say spoilers. But I can avoid spoilers. Thank you, Anti-Chris. He says, don't worry, Scotty. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Thank you.
No, but Multiverse of Madness and Doctor Strange, I'm probably most excited for that movie coming up out of all of them because it is supposed to actually be a horror movie. And there's rumors flying around that because of the name Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man 3, that this series now, WandaVision, is setting up things for Doctor Strange's next movie as well. So if that's true, then I'm super pumped and ready for a cliffhanger of this series. If it doesn't, I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. I'm still going to enjoy it. But that's just the rumors flying around right now.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We shouldn't get outraged over something we don't know yet. You know? Like, God damn it, if this happens, I'm going to blow my gasket.
Yeah. That is how I live on the internet. How can you tell me otherwise? And Anti-Chris asks in the chat, isn't this the start of the next giant Marvel arc? I think so, because I think Spider-Man Far From Home was like the end cap of that phase or whatever, and this is supposed to be phase fucking, what are they on, 4 now? I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
We had 3 phases, and this was like one overarching saga, and now it's a new thing. Did they establish like a main villain, like how they had Thanos?
No,
I don't think they did.
That's kind of what they said. What Mr. Haru was saying is like, I feel like overall this is a 0-point series. Like this is the long intermission that's going to set up like the next.
Oh, for sure.
Mean, I'm pretty sure anyone who's read most Marvel comics is in agreement that they did Thanos, okay, and the Fantastic Four movies were just pretending those don't exist. So the next big baddie is obviously going to be Galactus, right?
Where does Black Widow fit? Because wasn't Black Widow supposed to come out like a year ago? Like, does that tie into anything, or is that just like a prequel thing?
That's a prequel thing. Well, it must be a prequel thing.
I feel like even with like stuff that is prequels, they always use it as a way to tie it into, you know, the other Marvel movies. You know, like it goes into future or brings up things that they will discuss in the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's probably going to be a baddie in it who turns out to then become the next baddie for the main series or something like that.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Very Snake Eater, you know, but with Black Widow.
Yeah, I don't know if Black Widow. I know Black Widow is a prequel, obviously. Like you said there, Graham, as well, and chat just confirmed it is a prequel. So, but it was supposed to come out in 2020. That was how 2020 did not get a Marvel release. That was the only thing I think they had planned, sort of, or had announced they had planned for 2020. But that kind of also shows just how important that movie is, that they went ahead and just released WandaVision anyway.
Yeah, WandaVision goes first. Black Widow, I don't know, somewhere in August or something.
I honestly don't. Like, Scarlett Johansson's a decent actress, but I think she is the weakest link in all of the MCU major players.
It feels like the background isn't as interesting. I don't know. Like, secret agent, Russian. It's just like,
she's not convincing to me as a Russian insane assassination person.
I mean, no, she's good in her role. I just, as a character, I don't think it's as interesting as like Wanda. I think is super. Like, I even didn't consider Wanda like as a super interesting character. Besides, you know, she shoots red lasers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'll honestly, like, I'll admit, like, I didn't look into her background. So, you know, like bringing all this stuff that they've discussed, I think makes her much more interesting in my eyes. You know, I guess characters just need a TV show to flesh out their character. All of them.
You know what it is? And God damn it, I can't say this either because it's spoilers. Fuck me. What it is, the reason the MCU is so successful, other than it's making it family friendly and everything, is if you compare it to the Resident Evil movies, their defense of why the Resident Evil movies the way they were is because those games were made to be movies, essentially. Like, those games were made to be horror and monster films, but they change it up so much because they don't want the fans to just basically watch it beat for beat and know exactly what's going to happen. They throw enough stuff in here that, like, if you know about this whole story that's happening, I guess has already happened in the comics, and like Wanda's kind of created this thing. But the fact that it's happening this way and still surprising people, even fans, but certain things are happening that are making them think like, oh, I know what they're going to do. But they still switch it up enough that it's not like, okay, I thought they were going to do this, but that is not what I thought was going to happen. Does that make sense at all?
I guess so, yeah. Although I think with the Resident Evil movies, it's kind of ruined the franchise a bit. Like,
yes, they did.
I enjoy the Resident Evil movies to an extent, but I kind of just forget they're Resident Evil movies. I'm like, this is just a zombie movie to me now, sort of thing. Like, But yeah, I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was. Never mind. Probably something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was just gonna, because I thought of something else that made me realize I don't know anything about these two characters, like what Marcin said, but I've played certain games and I've had to do research that I learned about. I know about one of the spoilers and I'm not as surprised that it happened. But at the same time, it's like, oh, they're going this route. And it's like, ooh, that's a deep cut all of a sudden. And like other stuff. But I know enough, but not enough that I'm going to know exactly what is going to happen with how they're incorporating things. Wow. It's so hard to talk about this goddamn show.
I just remember what I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say for Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. Yeah. To me, she's always been one of the more interesting characters. Like, because I feel like she has got a very dark past, which we're obviously going to find out in the prequel movie. And the fact that she doesn't have any abilities compared to like everyone else on the Avengers team, like Hawkeye. To me, from my understanding, Hawkeye technically doesn't have powers either, but he is just crazy accurate. Like he can shoot things without looking at them and be perfectly on target. It almost feels like he does have powers, but with her, she is just very much just a badass. She knows martial arts. She can manipulate people and stuff. She's got like those assassin sort of tactics and qualities. But yeah.
I don't think she has any otherworldly powers. I think. Fuck, I don't know that much about Hawkeye. For some reason in my head, I remember hearing at one point he gets like some other enhancement that's not just accuracy, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Like speed or hearing or something. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know. It just seems like he does have, even from my understanding, he doesn't have any powers. He's just a very good shot with a bow and arrow, but it's so ridiculous at times that, yeah, like in the first Avengers movie, he like literally just like fires an arrow that way and like gets someone straight in the head. It's just like, okay, this guy is just too good almost. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm interested for the Black Widow movie and also to see where WandaVision's going. Because, yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but after the last episode, I can understand why you weren't as keen on it. But I feel like it's damn it, yeah, I can't say anything. I feel like it's going somewhere. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, my disappointment in it regarding sitcoms, I understand because it's the inevitable progression of this show and everything. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. They got it. The thing is, though, and the reason that there is a rumor, I think, mainly that there's going to be a secret final episode. They have a lot to tie up in what has been no more than 30-minute episodes. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised I haven't made the episodes longer, to be honest. I think they could be longer in a way, but
100%.
Yeah. Cool. What else have we got?
Sorry, we actually did have a question this week. Oh, what'd you say?
I was about to say, what else have we got, like in the mail sack?
Hell yeah. EJ in the Discord said, I would love for Sega to release something like this, meaning the Blizzard Arcade Collection. I would love for the games on the Astro City Mini. Astro City Mini to have a console release in the West. What are the chances that Sega does something like this? So I think they're asking, what are the chances that something like what Graham is holding up right now with the Arcade Mini, which is a micro-sized Astro City arcade cabinet, essentially.
Yeah.
And what are the chances to have a console released like, not a console released, a console game release like those collections? Yeah.
50-50, I think. I could see them doing it. I could see them not doing it. That seems like a cheap answer, but I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibilities just because they did have the Genesis Mini, talked about the Astro City and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, and they've done collections before, you know, I don't know about like what specific games maybe we'd see in the next batch, but I think it's completely possible they re-release, you know, another collection. They did the Yakuza collection. I guess that counts, right? And
yeah.
To an extent, you know, but
yeah, but like in terms of like more unique titles that we'll discuss later in the show, I don't know about that, but I think it'd be an interesting thing to do and take a page out of Blizzard's playbook that they just did. I think it would be good for them to do that, and interesting to see what they pick.
I think it could be, and I think sort of to address the chat, because Tentative 2 asks, I guess a question for you, Graham. The Astro Mini is cool, but isn't it pricey? Happy Dude says 150 to 200, I think. Is that, do you remember?
I can't actually remember how much it costs now. Oh, God.
So
I pre-ordered it on Amazon Japan. I pre-ordered it like a year ago or something when it first announced.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was trying to find you can't actually buy them anymore, other than like through third parties. So I was trying to look up how to get it. PlayAsia has it for like $150. But what I was going to lead towards with that was I could see them releasing what was on here in a digital collection, just to maybe make up for lost profits if the physical minis didn't sell that well. Because that's how many games. Do you remember even how many games are in that, Graham?
It's I can tell you. What's it?
The answer is yes.
37 games.
Holy crap.
Even though, weirdly, every news site said 36 games, but there's actually 37. I've counted them. It says on the box. There's 37 games in there.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
Wonder what game all the websites left out.
Yeah, I
What
can't,
is that? 37th game.
can't remember. Annoyingly, the box is all in Japanese, so I can't even read out all the games to you. I have to go off to a website to find
What a bunch of assholes.
No. How dare you?
I think that, but that's all, folks. I think that could be a reason for them to put it out digitally, but at the same time also increases the desirability. What am I trying to say? Like, I'm trying to justify the price of that thing, and I'm trying to think of a reason that they would not do it digitally or a physical just on disc thing, as opposed to making up for loss of sales.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, unless if you're appealing to a specific market that love collecting and physical stuff, maybe they would see more lucrative possibilities by having physical things like the arcade cabinet or like a physical game box. Because there is money to be made in that field, but I don't know.
Because they've sort of stopped making it and stopped selling it. It's kind of for the 60th anniversary thing. That they won't make any more money from it. Like, they can't. Like, if they kept making the system, hopefully more people keep buying it. So I don't know.
Well, how intuitive is that Astro City thing? Is it cheaply made, or is it well?
I'd say it's well. I'd say it's pretty well made. I mean, it's made of plastic, which is fine. It's very solid. It feels very solid. The actual stick's solid.
Then how do you play? Because I feel like I got big hands, so like just putting my there you go.
You get a control. You can buy a controller as well. You can also buy a slightly bigger. Actually, they've got an Astro Mini City arcade stick thing as well, which is smaller than the original arcade stick, but bigger than this thing. That you can
feel like you really need to squint on that screen. Like, is that a small screen?
Screen's not too bad. You can happily play it on this, but it has got HDMI output, so you can plug it into a monitor or TV. You can also plug in other USB controllers if you don't have an extra controller. It's two-player as well, so you can plug in two controllers. So it's actually a very good little machine. The games on it are really good, really fun to play, very solid. I'm really happy with that. That's like, unlike the Game Gear Micro, which was kind of just like a curiosity and like a what the fuck have I just bought, that's actually a genuine thing. I'm like, this is a really cool thing to have. So yeah, I'm really impressed with it. I was
going to say that in the Twitch chat here, it's brought up that, well, you did do a little unboxing of it and a review for it, I believe.
I'd never actually got the review out, annoyingly.
But the arcade... I'm sorry. TJ, I was thinking of his. He did... So you did an unboxing of the Mini itself. Yeah. TJ did an unboxing and kind of a teardown of the joystick.
Yes.
The arcade stick, the actual fight stick that they released with it. Whereas I think you got the fight pad, Graham.
Yes. Yeah.
And potato everywhere, people. But I kind of want one of those arcade sticks, though, because they're just... well made, and for someone that won't pick up, I probably won't ever get the full Astro Mini itself or a actual Astro Mini cabinet, but I really like the color, the vibrant colors and the circuitry look of the stick itself. So yeah, I personally, if I found one like in the wild, I would probably snag it and then get one of those Brooks converters so that I could use it on anything, because I just really like the look of those, the color scheme and everything.
What's a Brooks converter?
Brooks Converter is a converter that lets you use almost any arcade stick on any console, essentially.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Anti-Chris. I know you and Corey have them. I think TJ got one. I just remember like literally before the marathon, because we play those that have sticks, we'll bring them to the marathon to use on the fighting games. And I remember that like right before it, both Corey and Anti-Chris bought Brooks converters. And after that, the store was sold out in prep for the marathon. So, but no, those are, go check out our YouTube channel. Thank you, Happy Dude, for trying to throw that in there. A Brook converter has peripherals that allow you to play arcade sticks on older hardware. Okay, right on. So you could use that with like essentially the games that it was made for, since it's mostly retro games and stuff. System specific, as Chris says. But yeah, what were we talking about?
We have actually gone off. We're talking about the Blizzard collection. No, was it Blizzard? No, we weren't. We were Astro City Mini Console. Just for some reason I thought we were the Blizzard collection just then. But we
were talking about if Sega could release something like Blizzard, and then we delved into collections, and then specifically the Arcade City or Astro City.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with the chat because they're giving us info about it. But they're saying that also the people that sell the Brooks converters sell the PCBs internal to the arcade stick that will allow you to play most modern consoles. So they're long and the short of it is there are ways that you could get the Astro City Mini arcade stick accessory and use it with current or older stuff, and that's kind of what I want to do down the road.
I do wonder if you can just use it on modern consoles because it is USB. So I'm wondering if the magic of modern technology and USB makes it just work on modern consoles. But cool.
The PS4, like you have.
Sorry, Scotty, you froze for a second.
What was the last thing I said? Sorry.
You went.
You said
helpful. Thank you. So what I was saying is like the way to think that no, it's not going to work with every modern day thing is you have to think that you have to plug in a PS4 controller into the PS4 that has like the touchpad and all that other garbage with it. So it might not be just that any USB thing plugged into it will work as a controller, if that makes sense.
Yeah, to an extent, but I feel like arcade, like fighting games and stuff, even on the PS4, would only use those handful of buttons. You wouldn't have all the extra fun, motion control and touchpad and stuff. So I don't know
where the PCB comes into play.
Right. Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. So
okay.
But my understanding for the Astro City Mini, from what I've read, is that you can plug in modern USB controllers to work with the Astro City Mini itself, if that makes sense. So like PC controllers, you can plug into it and they will work. So yeah, in my head, I assumed it would then work the other way around, but maybe it doesn't. But I think I tested out this controller on my PC for an emulator. So I think it worked. So, but I don't know about on the Xbox or PlayStation, basically. Maybe that won't work for those games.
Printed circuit board is what that stands for, but it's essentially the actual circuit board used for classic games and stuff. So I guess you need a different PCB for some things, maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting. More to know. And you should check out those videos because I'm talking out my ass at this point.
Cool.
That's all I got. I only got a couple of questions though, but thank you guys. These always spark conversations. So definitely get them in whenever we'll try to get the request for them out earlier. I apologize. I've been slacking on that and do it like literally the day before we record and stuff. But I'm sorry. You know what? This is unless you guys had anything else to say about.
I was just going to touch on EJ's thing and just say I don't see the Astro City Mini console itself coming to the West, but it would be awesome if Sega did actually release the games digitally. I'd love that, like a little digital bundle on Xbox and PlayStation and stuff.
Yeah, I will second what Marcin said and said it's probably a 50-50 shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Depends on how things sell. Depends on what other people release and if they see a market for it, I guess.
Cool. So yeah, I guess that does it for the mail sack.
That's going to do it for the mail sack.
Awesome. Cool. So we're going to take a quick sort of 3-4 minute break here now, but afterwards we are going to come back in with our feature topics. One of them we're actually looking at kind of along the same lines of what EJ was talking about, actually, what sort of classic arcade franchises or what classic Sega franchises would make a best combo pack in the vein of the Blizzard Arcade Collection. So if you've got any suggestions or any questions you want to throw in the chat, drop it in and we'll get on it. So we'll bring that right back with all that nonsense. Fantastic. Cool. See you in a moment. I need to... Oh, no. I've just lost the link to bring up the thingy. Be right back. Hello and welcome back, everybody. Yes, we're live. We just had a quick break and a quick pit stop, but we're going right into our feature topic this week, which is what 3 Sega classic games or arcade franchises would we think would make the best combo pack? Wait, I need to do the intro. I forgot about that. It's time for our feature intro. There we go. Awesome. I always forget to do little intro things. But yes, so this comes off the back of Blizzard. So if you don't know, Blizzard recently announced and released their Blizzard Arcade Collection Pack. And we discussed it briefly last week in our last show. But yeah, essentially this is a little collection which contains the first 3 games they ever released, which is Lost Vikings, Rock and Roll Racing, and Blackthorn. And I have to admit, it's a bit of a weird title calling it the Blizzard Arcade Collection, considering none of them were in the arcade, and they're not really arcade games. So yeah, Lost Vikings is like a puzzle kind of platform adventure game. Rock and Roll Racing is a isometric racing game. Scotty sort of mentioned it earlier in the show, and Blackthorn is it's kind of like Flashback or Prince of Persia. It's like quite a slow-paced adventure game. You're actually this Native American with a shotgun, walking around caves and underground places and stuff. And it's
named Turok.
Yes. It's like the original Turok, basically. And but yeah, these were all released on multiple platforms. So Lost Vikings was on Super Nintendo and Mega Drive or Genesis. Rock and Roll Racing, also Super Nintendo and Mega Drive and Genesis. And Blackthorn was on the Super Nintendo and the Sega 32X. But yeah, and the Blizzard collection has all this extra cool stuff in it. So they actually include both versions of each game. They apparently also introduce extra content as well. Like they have a definitive version as well that you can play, which introduces a little bit of extra content and stuff, sometimes merging 2 games together. This is from what I've read. I haven't actually played them yet. Scotty, you may be able to tell me otherwise. But yeah, they've got loads of other standard things you tend to get with games. So like you can rewind your gameplay like 10 seconds, save and load your games. Interestingly, you can actually watch playthroughs of Blackthorn and Lost Vikings because they're actually quite challenging games with the puzzles and stuff. And then you can jump in and play at any point, which I think is an amazing idea. Like you don't really hear of that, like, ever.
Well, that did just happen with another collection. I think it was the Capcom collection. Something else recently came out that did incorporate it, though. That's not a brand new thing with this collection.
I own the Capcom collection. I didn't realize that was... but I haven't played it that much, I have to admit. So I have to check that out, because I do own that collection.
You'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that sounds fun. But yeah, so yeah, they added other things as well, like localization for up to 12 languages, and other stuff like new songs for Rock and Roll Racing and enhanced multiplayer for some of the games like Lost Vikings and Rock and Roll Racing. So yes. But what we want to do is look at if Sega were to make a bundle like this, which 3 games do you think would make a great pack? So I think we're going to give out a couple of choices and stuff. I'll start with you. Let's start with Martin, actually. Martin,
right.
what would your bundles be, or what would you
see? I wouldn't stick to 3 games. I feel like it would need to be more than just 3.
Okay.
Blizzard's in a unique situation because I feel like most people identify themselves or them with, Diablo, World of Warcraft, Overwatch. And I think that maybe they called it arcade because it's so, I don't know, different from what, most people normally consider Blizzard. I don't know. But yeah, it was a weird choice.
The name, sorry to interrupt you, but I think one of the reasons they might have named it this is because they are not all the same genre. So I don't think they could have called it like the platformer collection or something,
Yeah.
Blizzard Classic Collection would sound weird because I don't know would people consider these games to be classics? I don't know.
I mean, what does classic mean these days? people just throw that out as like another retro term for retro, don't they? It could work.
If it's not classic, it's remastered.
But yeah, some of like one I considered, and I feel like they must have done this before, but like a Virtua collection where it's essentially a collection of all their titles with the word Virtua in it. So Virtua Fighters, let's say 1 through 3, we'll cap it at like, the ones around Dreamcast, era, and then Virtua Cop, 1 and 2, maybe 3, Virtua Tennis, Virtua Strikers, Virtua Racing. I was going to throw in Virtual On because it was close enough, but no. I think that'd be an interesting bundle just because I feel like a lot of them, it's Virtua Fighter, like they're currently in the process of making an esports focused Virtua game, which I think would be, it'd be a good way to reintroduce people to the series because the last one I think came out in 2005, and then they had slight, reiterations as video or as fighting games do. They have like 3rd edition, 4th edition, Dead or Alive 5. I don't know, the Big Titties edition. I don't know, but like I think it'd be a good way for people to get reintroduced to Virtua Fighter and just kind of get a more better understanding of Sega's history and games that people have possibly forgotten about. The other one that I thought about was just like 3 games on the Sega Saturn that people also just my theme is like people haven't really played these games, right?
Okay.
And we've already had collections that are Sonic Gems collections, and that you always have the same 6 or 7 Genesis games that they roll out. And I think it'd be important to highlight, specifically Saturn, because I think in the West, the Saturn, most people don't look too fondly at the Saturn unless you're a Sega nerd like us. People kind of, during that era in the 90s, they think PlayStation and 64, but not the Saturn. So I think games like Clockwork Knight, Dragon Force, and Burning Rangers, like it's an interesting combination, but I think those 3 would be fun to have as a pack. And then, in terms of features and things like that, I always like the making of type things, maybe include like a mini doc packaged with, these games, how they were created, give a background, and the history of these games and how they were viewed at the time and all that kind of stuff. I'm always a big fan of proponent of that kind of stuff. So those definitely. And then on a side note, since I am a big Shenmue fan and I like Yu Suzuki, there should be a Yu Suzuki collection, but don't include Shenmue because I think that is its own thing, but include all his arcade classics that he's created and the other console games that he focused, like Virtua Fighter, so I think that'd be another good one they should include. So
cool.
That's me.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was going to say Dragon Force is an interesting pick because I really, there are so many games with dragon in the name that I forget what that one is. But that's
it's not the metal band. It's not, Through the Fire and Flames, Dragon Force. It's the game.
Weird tactics game, or what? How would you describe the genre that it is?
I have my copy right here.
I think Graham can do it better.
Isn't it the one where it's like kingdoms fighting each other?
It's actually been a long time since I played it. I know that when you go into battle, you kind of actually got your armies fighting against each other.
Yeah, okay. So I am thinking of the right game. So what would you call that genre?
Well, it's kind
RTS?
it is kind of an RPG kind of style game from memory. Yeah. It's been a long time since I played it, to be honest. And I never actually got that far. I was in a phase where I was buying Saturn games and playing them a little bit and going, oh, that was fun. From memory, I'd classify it more as an RPG, but
it's a real time strategy. It's a real time strategy game. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I guess the reason I wasn't sure is because real time strategies are usually an isometric view, and this one is a side view, and you have literally like 30 or 40 characters on each side going at each other, like Wall of Death style in the pit of a rock show almost. But you have all your infantry, and it's crazy. It was crazy to see that much on the screen for a video game, much less that much, and them all moving also.
Yeah, definitely. I need to pick up this game and play it again properly because it's
another like unsung hero of the Saturn library that if you think it's up there in price too if you try to
Yeah,
find it.
I mean, my one was £80, as you can see there. Which, yeah, I think it's the first time. Actually, yeah, when I picked this up, this was a few years ago I picked it up, but it was like, this is the first time I'd actually seen it available, like to buy. I was just like, okay, I'm going to get it. Because, yeah, I love the Saturn, want to build up my collection.
That's cool. Those are some good. I do think something that happened similarly to your Virtua bundle, Marcin. They did do a Model 2 series on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, the PlayStation Network, because they released Daytona USA, Fighting Vipers 2, and my brain's gone. What were the other ones? Nights into Dreams, which didn't make sense, but it was cool that they did that.
Did you say Sonic the Fighters?
Nope, I didn't. That was the other one.
Yeah, that was the other one,
Model 2. The Model 2 engine, which everybody saw with like Virtua Fighter and stuff mainly, but yeah, that would be cool. That's a good set of stuff, and it would remind people that light gun games exist.
Yeah, I mean, make it HD, throw in multiplayer in there, remaster, reimagine the soundtracks and all the games, include the original. You know, like all check all the boxes that people like when you create a remastered collection. You know, and also that making of thing, I do think would be interesting. Even a history of Saturn. I don't know, a general history of the Saturn.
I think the coolest thing to see, because in the Blizzard collection, what I love is the virtual museums, or whatever the hell they call it, which is like art books of the magazine ads and the box art itself. One of those things is someone literally took the box for Lost Vikings and like opened it up and unfolded it and flattened it down and took a picture of it. Because we were looking at that when we streamed it Thursday night and like zooming in, like, look, there's the creases. This box is messed up and tattered on this corner and whatever. But I think, fun. Yeah, that in mind, what they could do with your idea of a collection, Marcin, is it would be great to see the full arcade cabinets that they had, and like maybe the different art that they wanted to put on the side but didn't, and like stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if Sega did approach a collection like that, and I like in terms of like an extra bonus thing, you know, that people can do to unlock these kinds of things. I know some people don't like the Mortal Kombat crypt idea. But I think it would be cool to have like a Sega themed, you know, crypt type thing. It wouldn't be called the crypt, but you know, it's basically would be, you know, you would collect coins while, you know, either, you know, beating a level or fighting, you know, fighting a match. And then you have this separate mode where you walk around as a specific character, and then you use this currency to unlock, you know, like you said, concept arts, music, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think that would be fun. Just don't make it too loot boxy. Like you can make it in a way where it's not what would you call it? I don't even know the word. EA-ish. I don't know. I guess that'd be one word.
Pay to win.
Yeah.
Idea. That's cool. I didn't even think about that. Like earn things to buy unlockables in the game would be neat.
I think it'd be cool. I like more like Crypt and Mortal Kombat, so I think it's neat.
You would use like arcade coins. So what's it called when you redeem your tickets and crap at a?
That'd be cool. Like a gift, like a gift, like a ticket redeem area where you get like 1,000 tickets, but you get like, you know, it costs 5,000 tickets for like a small plush toy or whatever. But do it for, you know, like extra unlockable content. That'd be cool.
Now I want this to be like an arcade you walk around in and play these games.
Would be cool.
Then like,
yes. Now I think we're coming up with a fun game, guys.
Like, and for Marcin's virtual idea, it could be the Virtua Arcade, and then you go into a literal virtual arcade to walk around and see the virtual games. It writes itself, Sega. Come on, give it.
We just gave you an idea. We gave you that for free, guys. We got more ideas.
I'm getting visually and audibly angry because this will never happen, and it is such a great idea.
That one,
but I was going to say, like, you even like go up to the counter and redeem your tickets to someone that, well, if it's very Japanese, then they're going to love life and be excited to help you out. But if this was like an American,
like a cynical guy with a Namco vest and he's smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you want? You want the Airhead or the Starburst or whatever?"
Yeah, I want like a zit covered teenager that doesn't give a shit about what you're doing, like untucked shirt. Backwards hat on, I don't know.
And just like, what can I get for these?
It's gotta be the 90s and crap.
It's like, I don't know, a ring or something. Yeah.
Here you go, kid. And it just like throws a stuffed animal at your face.
Yeah.
Mine was never that violent, but I think they match the cynicism that you guys are describing.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, so
Damn,
good.
I want this now. They in with the model or no, not with the Model 2 collection, but they had something very close to this with the Golden Axe and the Streets of Rage and the Toe Jam and Earl collections they released. On the 360, it was like a bedroom aesthetic where you like rotated, you, like went over to a different cabinet to play this game.
And it's also on the Steam releases.
Was that how it was on Steam as well?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, like because I think they released originally on the Steam. They released each game individually, but then they released it almost as like this virtual room you could go into and you can select. I think if you only buy like 3 of the games, you only see 3 of the games on the shelf, and then you can, if you buy more on Steam. But on the Xbox and PlayStation versions, you just got all the games in a bundle basically.
I think you're talking about the more recent collection. I'm talking about the one before that. Because
Really?
Are you talking about the one that's in a kid's bedroom and you have the shelf of games and you play them on a TV?
Yeah, is that not what you're talking about?
Nope. I'm talking about the one a generation before where it only had on the 360 was it a setup of a game room with different arcades you can switch to, or with Toe Jam and Earl, it was different TVs you switched to. The PlayStation got the shaft because on PS3 you just had games you select from a menu, but on 360 there was the classic collections where Graham doesn't believe me. He's looking very
I'm looking at my shelf now to find my copy.
Graham, it wasn't a physical release. I'm not talking about a physical release. This was all digital.
Wait, have I missed this? Did I miss an extra collection?
I think you have. I think
there's no way you have. You're gonna look it up. Type in like Xbox 360 Sega Classic Collection. Google that real quick, and you'll see they did Golden Axe, they did Toe Jam and Earl, they did Streets of Rage. I remember it was much cooler on the 360 because you had a physical room that you were in, and you cycled through the TVs to pick a different game. But on Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, you cycled through a different arcade cabinet, and you could play the games. But for PS3, you did not have that room set up. It was just a list of games you choose from. So they kind of got the shaft in that UI. There was not as much of a UI as there was on the 360 version.
This is not the Sega Genesis Classics, no? This is something else.
I gotta find it. Maybe it didn't get released in. I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute myself so you guys don't hear the clacking on my keyboard.
No, yeah, I don't know.
Feel the dead air.
No, we just want to quietly stare at you type on your keyboard.
Yeah, because
no, it was only on XBLA and PSN. Maybe type XBLA to get the whole.
Yeah, because I'm going up with all the box versions of the game XBLA.
And oh no, I think I went robotic because I clicked on a thing to load the internet. Can you guys still hear and see me? Okay.
Yeah, you're still fine. Yeah.
I'm still here, they say. So, shit.
It's about the Sega Vintage Collection.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I own one of these, and I don't remember them. I just remember there being a menu. I don't remember there being.
Maybe you had to buy the set of them. I'm gonna have to find the actual. Oh God, this is great for audio.
Oh,
Sorry about that, everybody.
Is it?
You see it? Did you find it?
Is it like the screenshot I'm seeing right now? There's a picture of a Mega Drive of a TV on like a log, and then next to it there's the arcade, which is an Astro City arcade, which looks like you can sort of rotate to that arcade, basically.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now I know what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I didn't buy the collection. Maybe I just bought one individual game because I don't remember.
What's your problem? No.
Huh.
I'm just kidding.
I guess if I can still get these, I'm going to bloody buy them. Awesome.
Yeah, the vintage collection. That's what it was. I'm sorry. I didn't know there was that buzzword in there, vintage. The vintage collection, the Sega Vintage Collection on 360 and PSN. If you go to them on the 360, and I think still on the Xbox One, you get a cool. This was made by Backbone. Backbone did really cool setups and layouts. So when you go into I found it, here it is. Yeah, there's a for Golden Axe 1, it's an arcade cab. The second one's sitting on like a crate with a Genesis that you actually look at the screen of and stuff. And then the third one as well. I love things like that. That's what makes a collection for me, is the time put into the UI, not just because anyone can just give you a list of games and you can play them. That's just an emulator. So stuff like that is really cool.
Building a virtual world or an experience around it than simply just scrolling and clicking play, I think is fun.
Yeah, right on. And chat's going off about Mr. Bones, which is interesting because I incorporated that into one of mine. You'll see in a second. But I'm wearing a Sega Saturn shirt right now with a Japanese logo on it. Mark in the chat there, Mark says, looking at the Sega Saturn shirt, I remember Solar Eclipse, Knights, Astal, Bug, Shinobi Legion. They didn't say that, but throw all those in the collection and I'd buy it.
Hell yeah.
So I could, kind of hopping from that, I could go into mine unless you want to talk about your program.
You go for you can go for yours first, dude.
Okay. So one bundle that I had in mind was kind of with the Blizzard collection. They have a bunch of things that if you knew about them, you're a fan. Otherwise, like I just introduced Rock and Roll Racing to Corey 2 weeks ago, but I think people are either like, yes, Rock and Roll Racing, I played that for hours, or people are like, what are you talking about? That doesn't sound like a video game. And so that in mind, I think a cool bundle would be Forgotten Platformers on the Genesis. But I feel like you'd have to have one that some people recognize to bring them to the collection. So I thought for one bundle, it could be Ristar, Pulseman, and Tinhead. Ristar, I think people know of the little star with the stretchy arms that would grab stuff. It was one of like the last games that come out on the Genesis. And then Pulseman only ever released on Sega Channel, and I think the Virtua Console on the Wii. I don't know that it has a physical release. Graham, you might be able to speak more about that. Do you recall?
Did it not get released in Japan?
Or maybe it was just physically released in Japan.
Yeah, I have to double check that.
Tinhead, Pulseman very much looks like just a Mega Man clone. I haven't played that one out of these ones. Tinhead was one that I picked up randomly because I like platformers and it looked really cool. The aesthetic reminds me of Decap Attack, because it is kind of a lot of darker colored worlds and stuff, or themes like color schemes. But you have, I'm not going to go into much detail, but I think like that one is cool. Just big sprites and like big enemies and stuff like that. Very fun to look at. Ristar is very colorful, great soundtrack. But I feel like these three games, like you either played them or you never knew about them because they didn't get the publicity that Sonic did, or they came out near the end of the Genesis life cycle, so nobody cared about them.
So
an interesting fact. Yeah, go for it. No,
Tinhead was only American. It wasn't in Japan or Europe, PAL areas. And Pulseman was originally released in Japan physically, and then it got a North American release on the Sega Channel, as you said, and also on the Wii Virtual Console years later. So yeah,
don't think I have a box for it, but I'm holding up the Tinhead cartridge right now.
Your video has gone really down in quality, actually, Scotty.
Yay!
Windows open or something.
It's like 5 tabs and it just goes robotic.
Yeah, let me help.
Your audio is sounding fine, but yeah, you're
interesting fact about Pulseman. Yeah, it was developed by Game Freak, and then they obviously later, some of them later worked on the Pokemon series. So, very nice, little jump from Pulseman to Pokemon. They really created a game there. But yeah, Pulseman is one I would love to see in a collection.
Yeah.
So I think those are good. In terms of get some unsung heroes, maybe. And then my other collection is basically the Ed Annunziata best of or whatever. Or just because...
Call it the Acid Trip collection.
Yeah, we sure could. But I suggested Ecco the Dolphin, Tides of Time, Colibri, and Three Dirty Dwarves.
Wow.
Because... Colibri is one of the most expensive 32X games, Sega 32X games.
And gorgeous.
It is a very aesthetically pleasing game. It's very strange. You are a hummingbird and you're given no direction. I recently tried to sit down with it and actually play the game. I probably should stream that sometime, honestly. I probably should just stream my 32X games because I do have the ability to do that. And I have found some gems that way as well. But Echo Tides of Time, that's the one to get people to buy it, I think, because people recognize Ecco the Dolphin, but get the one that not everybody has played, not the first one. Tides of Time is the sequel. That was on Sega CD as well, so they could probably do like, here's the Genesis, here's the CD version. I think it was on Game Gear, or maybe just Echo and Echo Junior were on Game Gear. I can't remember. Probably should have done more research.
Someone correct us in chat if you're watching.
Yeah, look it up. And then Three Dirty Dwarves is a side-scrolling beat-em-up, notoriously difficult, but it's 3-player, or you can play it single player, and each dwarf that you play is a one-hit kill essentially, or they get knocked out. You can pick them back up. Has a long 7-minute animated intro that's really cool. The story of that game is pretty much these kids that were a think tank for the government are playing Dungeons and Dragons and somehow morph the characters from the D&D game into the real world, and they have to save the kids from the government. That's the TLDR version, but it's a decent game. It's a challenging game, only on Saturn, so not many people know about it. I think PC as well, in the time when Sega started to just throw out PC games that were also on the Saturn, or the Genesis. And then, Colibri feels a little bit like Echo, but you are a hummingbird. And I don't honestly know the story of that game because I've played it for maybe 2 hours and still have no idea what I'm doing in it.
You're a fucking hummingbird. That's the story.
It's such a... I remember playing that game thinking, am I actually doing anything? And I had to Google a strategy guide, and it's you do this and you do this and this sort of stuff happens. It's oh, so I am actually playing the game. I just didn't realize
that was me with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I couldn't get the plane to land off the track. Yeah. I'm am I doing anything?
Yeah, it's
But anyway,
yeah, there's no there's no HUD.
Playing me.
Yeah, there's no HUD or anything to sort of indicate your life or points or anything like that. So you're just sort of flying around, bumping into enemies or whatever, and you're I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I love that game.
So
do you kill them or do you just bump into them?
I think you can kill them.
Oh, sorry, pardon me.
Sorry, when I say bump into them, I think I'm not
you
trying to remember.
Do damage. You have weapons, but also it's hard to tell if the background is hurting you or not sometimes, or if it's an enemy, or if it's your friend, or if you're just... It is the same idea of you have the school of dolphins in Echo. You have your flock of hummingbirds in Colibri that you're kind of protecting and trying to fight for or something. And so weird, but
so good.
All of those in mind, I thought an unlockable game for it could be Mr. Bones. Somehow you get enough tickets or whatever. And the chat was going off about Mr. Bones, saying how weird of a game it is. It's a Sega Saturn game. And Happy Dude says Mr. Bones is a game with a decent story, but the damn mechanics were not on point. Yes, I streamed this game once years ago in the Saturn marathon I did. I don't know why Rachel loves it, but she just, anytime she sees a skeleton, basically, she's like, Mr. Bones. And it's a weird game that every level has different mechanics and is almost a different genre. Because there's rhythm games, there's platforming games, you start with not all your body parts and have to find the other body parts of your skeleton. Mr. Bones is essentially a blue-eyed skeleton that plays guitar and other instruments. And that's the story. I don't really know what the story is. But that's another game that's so weird and unique that more people need to play. And I know not a lot of people know about it, but another Saturn exclusive. Really, you could just try to get Ed Annunziata to sign off on this thing because he made Shakan the Forever Man on Genesis. He did a Dungeons and Dragons game on Genesis, which makes sense why Three Dirty Dwarves lends to D&D so well. He did the Jurassic Park game on Sega CD. There's all the Echo games, the first Vector Man game, Adventures of Batman and Robin. I'm just basically reading off the list on Wikipedia here, but his games were... a lot of them were challenging, and I know that in an interview or something, he recently said he made the first Echo game challenging so that people could not rent it in a weekend and beat it. They would either try to buy it or they just rent it over and over to beat the game. So yeah, really just most of his library, I think, should be put on a collection because it's some of the more expensive and sought after of the Sega libraries, between Colibri, For some reason, Three Dirty Dwarves is up there in price here and there. It fluctuates, but yeah, I think those could be thrown on a collection, and it would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think Calibri looks gorgeous, like the art style and whatnot. And when I saw it on Google, it initially just showed me the gun Calibri. Yeah, it's a pistol. So the next, the updated version should just be a gun with wings for Western audiences.
That's basically what that Hummingbird is.
It's a gorgeous game.
I mean, he shoots and explodes things, right?
Yeah. It's one of those games that was made for the 32X because the thing that they tried to tout so much with the 32X was how many colors it could display. So games like Tempo, Calibri, the JRPGs on there just look incredible, but nobody played them because they were on the 32X.
Yeah, sadly. Man. Just a quick update on Ecco the Dolphin Tides of Time. It was available on the Genesis/Mega Drive, the Sega CD, the Game Gear in all regions, and the Master System, but in Brazil only. So I assume that's a Tech Toy one, because Tech Toy do amazing things and bring stuff to the Master System because it's one of the bigger selling consoles over there.
Probably was pretty much the Game Gear game on Master System.
So, yeah. So my bundle, I actually sort of got 3 bundles. I'll try and go through them very quickly. So one of them I was thinking of would be an arcade one, which would be like an arcade racers one. And I would be looking at Sega Rally because I feel like that is one of the, synonymous big arcade races that Sega did. And also Sega Rally is probably still my favorite racing game of all time. Another one would be Outrun 2 because again, Outrun, popular franchise, but also Outrun 2 is such a bloody good game. That is also one of my favorite races actually. And Scud Race because actually, I need to double check this, but from my memory, that's never been released on anything other than arcade. I don't know if anyone else can correct me on that. I'll quickly do a quick search.
So to clarify, which Sega Rally do you mean? The first
Sega Rally 1. Sorry, just to clarify. Sega Rally 1, that is my favourite. I think Sega Rally 2 is good in the arcade, but I don't know. We've been raided. Hey!
Welcome to the Gamer.
Welcome.
Another new member of the staff is raiding us with a party of 2 right on.
Hey, nice.
Everybody, while Graham's researching stuff, I'll fill you in on what we're talking about. Blizzard Arcade Collection recently came out, so we're deciding what Sega games could be thrown into something like that. Graham just mentioned Sega Rally, Scud Race, and Outrun 2.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, Scud Race was only released in the arcade, and I feel like it'd be great to actually have the ability to play it outside of the arcade. It's an old game now. It was released in 1996. It was also called Sega Super GT in North America, but... it's a beautiful looking arcade racing game. I've only ever seen it once myself. I think I got to play it very briefly. It was years ago. But it's one of those arcade games that just looks so good. Even today, it still looks fantastic. And I just think it'd be one of those games that, to draw people in with Sega Rally and Outrun, but then get them to play Scud Race with it. Okay.
You got Daytona in there.
See, I feel like Daytona you can get on so many different platforms. I'm like, I'm going to put that to one side. I'm putting it to one side for now. But
that's what brings people in.
Will Sega Rally and Outrun not bring people in, do you not think?
Outrun might, I guess, yeah. I'm just trying to think of, the reason they called the Blizzard Arcade Collection that was because people know Blizzard. But if they said, the Rock and Roll Racing Collection, I don't think that would sell as well.
This would be like the Sega Arcade Racers one.
Branding. Can we make this a t-shirt? Can we put this action figures?
Oh dear. Well, maybe we can make some action figures of the next bundle I thought of, which would be the Saturn Platformers bundle. So a bit like Martin, I'm thinking Clockwork Knight, Bug, and Astal. Or Astal. I don't know how you pronounce it. But
I call it Astal, but that's me.
Astal,
like a bathroom
Astal, Astal. There's 3 ways to pronounce it, I guess. But yeah, so these I don't think any of these games would actually be really eye-grabbing to a lot of people unless you're a big Sega nerd. But Clockwork Knight, I think, is a very solid platformer. Bug, I think, is a hit-and-miss game for some people. I really enjoy it. I know a lot of other people don't enjoy it so much, but I think it's very unique. There's no other game I've actually played like it, really. And then Astal, or Astal, whatever, is... In a similar way to Calibri, is a beautiful looking game, but it makes more sense than Calibri, but it's one of those gorgeous Saturn platformers. It's really hard to get, but I think actually sort of shows off how good some of the games were on the console. So I feel like that could be like the underdog, as it were, for this little bundle. And and then I've got another little bundle which I would call like the Dreamcast bundle. So
I was going to comment.
Oh, go ahead, comment on it then. Fine, yeah, go for it.
Astal is a great example of how Sega did not know that they should be going 3D with the Saturn, and that they planned on keeping things 2D and continuing with platformers. Because Astal looks and plays great, but it was like already outdated by the time it released, if that makes sense. Because everybody was ready for 3D and they didn't care about 2D as much. Yeah,
which is a shame because it's a gorgeous game, and if you go back and play it now, it plays brilliantly and it just looks fantastic.
And it has like an assist mode. It's like 1.5 player because second you can pick up the second controller and control his little bird buddy flying around.
I didn't know that. So
hooray!
Nice. I'll check that out if I can.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So my bundle 3 would be my Dreamcast bundle, which is more of a mix of genres, and I am thinking of Toy Commander because I feel like that's a very understated Dreamcast game. I freaking love that game. Metropolis Street Racer, because I also think that's a very understated racing game, and it basically started the whole Project Gotham racing series. It's made by the same developers and the same concept, so that's where Project Gotham on the Xbox originated. And Ecco the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. I feel like the Echo title will probably draw people in, but that's another game I think is gorgeous, but also very hard and challenging. And it's just very different to pretty much any other game you can get on the Dreamcast.
Yeah, that's like open world, open world in the ocean game.
It's the open ocean.
Open ocean versus a closed ocean, like SeaWorld.
Fan. But if you haven't played Ecco the Dolphin Defender of the Future, the game and story is so good. Like just the way this whole story progresses. There's something like 40 odd levels or something in the game. So it's actually a pretty long game. It's well worth the money if you can pick it up. And it just looks gorgeous as well. But I'd love for them to add for these games like sort of online multiplayer if they can. Again, I love the idea that you guys had about like sort of documentaries on how this game was made, for example. Like Metropolis Street Racer, there is documentaries about it I've seen online. There's so much detail that went into that game.
I would love an interview with Ed Nunziata because his games are so fucking nuts. I would love to hear what his inspiration was for any of these batshit insane ideas.
Yeah, agree.
I was looking at a hummingbird one day and I was eating a Pop-Tart, and that hummingbird came over and tried to eat my Pop-Tart, and I thought, there's a video game here.
I wanted to shoot that hummingbird, but I actually want the hummingbird to shoot me, and that's where Calibri came from.
Yeah.
I want to say, Graham, I like your bundle 3 the most because it is such a wide variety of genres, with Toy Commander being like a military, fun, colorful third-person shooter thing. Then you've got a racer, and then you have an adventure game. So very different.
Yeah, I think that's probably that's why I had to do it, because I was like, actually, that's a good bundle. I'll go for that one. And if there's any way they can add online multiplayer to like Metropolis Street Racer, they probably can't, but that would be...
What the hell would the cover of that be? Like a dolphin riding a car with guns on it?
The Dreamcast Clusterfuck Collection. Yeah, it'll look like a Twisted Metal cover.
A dolphin riding a car with a giant kid holding them because of Toy Commander being the kid like controlling everything.
That's going to be this podcast cover, by the way. It'll be a dolphin in a car with a gun.
If you can draw that, actually, maybe I can Photoshop that up. Let's try it.
Please put sunglasses on the dolphin as well. Sunglasses on the dolphin. Give him a mohawk for all I care.
Yeah, the focus is Sega collections. And then we just have Ecco the Dolphin with a gun and then in a car. So I think it really encapsulates what we're trying to talk about.
I mean, that's why Shadow was the greatest hit and it sold so many copies. So there you go.
That's true.
And then we actually did, unless did anyone have anything else to say? I was going to mention a bundle that Mark's said in the chat.
Go for it.
They suggested throw Altered Beast, Golden Axe, and Earthworm Jim into a 3-game bundle. So, open world in the ocean game. OWOG is a new genre. They also just said in the chat. So, yeah, it's kind of part of the OWOG genre.
Yeah. The OWOG.
W silent.
So I think let's recap just for people that came in. I think the best bundles we had, Graham, we said yours was Toy Commander, Metropolis Street Racer, Ecco the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. My favorite from mine is Echo Tides of Time, Colibri, Three Dirty Dwarves. unlockable Mr. Bones.
Yep.
And then Martin, you had the Virtua bundle, which had Virtua Fighter, every one of them, Virtua Cop, every one of them, Virtua Strikers, Virtua Tennis, Virtua Racing.
Virtua, everything. Yes, I think that'd be a good collection.
Yeah, that's cool, actually.
But above all, I want a Virtua arcade where you access all of these and walk around and like experience them. And then you can make it online because you find your buddy walking around and you're like, hey, let's play some Virtua Cop. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Make it happen, Sega.
Damn it, this needs to exist.
Why doesn't one of us work for Sega and make this shit happen? Come on.
That's all video game development is, right? We just come up with an idea and they poop it out.
Yeah, basically. There's nothing else involved. Financially, it's a winner.
No budget, yeah.
Oh, man.
Exactly.
Oh, dear. Love it. That's really good. Cool. I feel like we are actually running out of time, so we may have to hold off on our next topic. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this other topic we had, we thought we were going to try it for 2 today, everybody, but I think we're going to save it. So we'll just do a little taste of what if you could make if Sega made a board game based on one of its games, what would it be? So we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah,
maybe next.
I think next week, if we can, we'll talk about that next week. So have a good think about as Scotty just basically said, if Sega made a board game based on one of its games, what would it be? Like, have a think about the actual game and how it would work on the board game as well. Because I feel like if we can make it as realistic as possible, maybe it'll happen. Probably won't happen, but maybe it'll happen. It's the pipe dream. This is the dream world we all live in at the moment, basically.
Dreamcast.
Hey. Oh, dear.
An ocean world that we all live in.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's the OWOG world that we live in. I'm
going to use that OWOG term, though. Thank you, Mark.
I think we need to. Yeah. It's OWOG. Thanks, Mark. That's such a good. Okay, so yeah, with that does actually close off our feature discussion. There's nothing else in the chat, is there, about any of the other games? Any other suggestions or anything?
No, just people want more Mr. Bones and OWOG.
Cool. And Mark mentioned Solar Eclipse a couple of times, so I'm actually have to Google what that game is because I've never heard of it. So
I think that's a shmup, if I remember correctly.
Oh, I mean, I was going to say I was going to Google it afterwards, but may as well do it now. While I'm doing this, Scotty, are there any announcements or anything for the website at all?
I will announce things for streaming, and we'll let Marcin talk about maybe what's going on the site because I think he's got a better idea. We stream a couple days out of the week. Sundays is today. That's what we do the podcast on. Mondays, TJ usually does Phantasy Star Online 2 or something else, whatever he's feeling. Thursdays, we've got the Thursday Night Throwdown, which is a multiplayer community-based thing. We invite people in or maybe just go at it in 4-player or something. And then Friday, Graham, you and Chris have been doing stuff, or more lately, you've been doing your own Dream stuff. And so,
if it's Chris and myself, we normally try and we're playing for the campaign of Halo on Legendary mode and dying quite a lot, but it's kind of fun. If Chris isn't available, I am streaming Dreamcast games at the moment. So last week I've been streaming Speed Devils, but also last week I stopped that and did Xenocider, which is a recent Dreamcast release, an indie release, and I'm really digging it, and I may actually play it again next week, see if I can actually play it, like complete it and unlock some more of those awesome game modes. And I've actually just looked up Solar Eclipse, and now I really want to get this game. This game looks sick. Like it's like a 3D space shooter, which I never... Wow. I love those sort of games. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. Thanks, Mark, for even mentioning that game. And so Marcin, any other sort of announcements or anything you want to make?
Just some housekeeping stuff. Just letting you guys know, we still write news, so check out our website. We also have a preview up on Guilty Gear Strive. One of our writers did a review on the infamous Sonic the Hedgehog curry, and there's also a review on Dragonborn. So that's what we posted out this week. Nice. If you're curious. And
also you got to announce it, that the hot topic news that's Sega related about Sonic the Hedgehog's composer making a cat's toilet. Check that out if you're interested. Whatever you just heard, that's what happened. So yeah, check it out on the website.
Yeah, don't forget about the self-flushing cat toilet.
Yeah. It's a thing. Check it out.
You have to read it to believe it. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon. It's Patreon/Megavisions. And also, if this is the first time you are listening, or if you've been listening for a little bit, follow us on Twitch and subscribe if you can. So that's it.
And hop in the Discord. I shot a link in the chat there. If you guys want to hang out with us and talk more.
Yeah, we're a multimedia company, so
yeah,
we
doing it all.
So I did find someone playing Ecco the Dolphin, so we're going to go ahead and raid them. I'm not sure if they're talking, but they're doing stuff. So
awesome. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting. So yeah, catch you hopefully next week and be excellent to each other.
Yeah, take it easy, guys. Anatomy. We're going to go raid them. They're playing Ecco. Have a good week.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Honey, I got to tell you about this sandwich.